Hello, good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. More Female Racers is back on your screens. This time we are heading to Silverstone GP and of course, as always, powered by Mercedes-AMG. I am not, however, Sam Pearce. David Christie jumping in behind the scenes to fill in for Sam, who can't make it with us this week, but you'll be delighted to know that none other than Ash Van der Leyen still in the commentary box and going to be holding me to account, Ash, from what was an awesome race one at Zolder there.
Absolutely. And Sam, we miss you if you're watching. I'm happy to have you here, David, and happy to learn so much from you. Sam was so great and informative last time, and maybe you can teach me a thing or two about Silverstone. But we're coming in strong. We had pro champion Honor Rose had a great start to her title defense with a double win at Zolder. But she could possibly be missing tonight. So I wonder who can take advantage of that opportunity in her presence. And in the AM, it was a strong start for Taylor Mills and Olivia Hayward, which secured double podiums. But can they continue that on into round two?
That's exactly what we're going to have to find out. You can see there confirmation of your winners from race one and race two at round one. Some new names, as always. Is great to see this championship going from strength to strength every season. Although, Ash, you were saying there about me being able to teach you a little bit about Silverstone. The only thing I'll be able to teach you is how to repeatedly spin at Maggots and Beckett's every single time. Make no doubt about it. It's the one section of this track that I really, really struggle with, both in the sim and in real life, I'm very proud to say. However, obviously, with it being so early in the season, we've still got a whole load of rounds still to go. We've got our track vote that's going to be coming up next for next week. That vote is going to be happening during qualifying tonight, so you'll be able to vote for your two favourite tracks. We'll see which one gets chosen tonight. But Silverstone, it is a very high-speed circuit. It's a very technical circuit in some instances, but I think tonight here as well, Ash, it's going to be the battle of the slipstream.
Oh, despite its history and all the infamous corners, like you mentioned, it can definitely leave you frustrated as a driver when it comes to the slower corners, like you said. So making sure you don't hit those sausage curbs, leaving a lot of room for entry, things like that. It'll be interesting to see if we break, how many track limits get broken today from the drivers, and there on out.
Yeah, track limits are always a bone of contention through this 3.6 mile circuit, especially on the exit of Copse. A very, very fast right-hander with a lot of runoff, but it's very easy to pick up those track limit warnings. You get 3 warnings and then you get a penalty at the end of it as well. Also, to mention, we've got the stewarding that happens here as well. And this is maybe unlike some other championships where we've got live stewarding that happens and we are able to pretty much announce what is happening in terms of the penalties as soon as they are announced. Laura Mirsan on the YouTube chat wanting turn one to win the race. Go Beata Bachenska. I'm going to presume that is because Beata has been with us for several seasons now. And Ash, jumping in on race one, who was it for you that kind of jumped out and caught your attention from that first race at Zolder?
Ooh, well, I mean, to your point about the Bochenska, she did a lot of incredible on-track battles, and she was extremely defensive, as in she never wanted to let go her position. She always wanted to make sure that she was there, making a name for herself and fighting for every single position, corner, etc. And I loved that. We also had, we also had Taylor Mills, which she was crushing it from the beginning. I mean, her name was on the top of the list. When we started going through practice and the qualifying, I was extremely impressed with her coming in and sweeping that all up.
Great to hear. Also noticing, obviously, looking at the first couple of races, Taylor Mills in that AM battle took pole on qualifying and then took the first race win. And then I'm looking at qualifying for GT3 Pros. Qualifying is underway just now. It does make me wonder. I mean, obviously, it's less of an issue when you look at someone like Honor Rose, who is just outrageously fast at any sim that she turns her hand to. But I wonder how important qualifying is for the rest of the field in terms of position.
And we mentioned this before we started the broadcast, that they had a long time to practice for Zolder, but I mean, 2 weeks for Silverstone. It'd be very interesting to see who comes up on top.
Well, we're not going to have long to wait to find out who does come out on top. And You know, for me, one of the big things as well is that I've been away from doing commentary on ACC for many, many months. I think it was actually, this might be my first one of 2023, and I'm having to get used to this brand new UI. This is quite interesting. A lot of information on there, so that's actually quite nice. No surprise to see all those Mercedes logos up there, since obviously we are powered by Mercedes-AMG. But this season, jumping from the GT4 to the GT3 car, and that's a different beast altogether. It loves to oversteer coming out of the corners. It used to be one of my favourite cars doing in the on the iRacing whenever I would do the GT3 as well. In terms of your experience, do you have any experience driving the Merc in iRacing or on ACC? Because I know you've got very limited experience with ACC.
I do have experience with the Merc in iRacing. It's actually currently my preferred. I started with the Ferrari, then moved to the Merc, and I just love the way. I mean, it makes sense to me when I'm in it, and I love the way it sounds, especially in real life too. When you're hearing the GT3s at the GT World Challenge races, it just sounds mean, and when you know when it's behind you. So I do love the Merc and how it looks, especially with all these creative liveries. Definitely one of my favorite GT3s.
I was never one for setups, and I think that's where I went wrong with it. I always it makes you feel amazing behind the wheel. Just that, like you said, that noise, the handling of the car is very, very direct. I always struggled coming out of the corners as well, being a little bit too greedy with the throttle, and the traction wasn't quite there, and the car would over rotate and send itself round. But again, as these changes come into the different tyre models, the different different sims anyway, makes all the difference. But while we're talking about that, the first 15 minutes are for one class, and then we move on to another class for the final 15 minutes of qualifying as well. So on that note then, given that we've got qualifying underway just now, you know, who should we be looking out for in terms of the names out there, do you think?
Look at the names now. Ruby Acosta definitely jumps out to me. And then we have Alexa Gates, Anna Foster. We have some really strong. I mean, again, it's hard to just pick out one name. I know you want us to highlight certain folks about who's their strengths, but everyone has such incredible strengths and weaknesses here, which I think is really cool to see all the battles throughout the field. Like, we're not only looking at P1, P2 when we're racing, right? We're looking everywhere, which what makes this really, really exciting. So I'm excited to see how everyone kind of susses each other out for this racing. For this race in Silverstone, considering how they got to know each other, know their driving styles at Zolder, and see how they apply that knowledge and their skill set here today.
Full transparency there, I was just throwing you completely under the bus so I could reopen the entry list on there. It crashed, and I needed some time. You bought me that time.
Did I buy you the time?
You're a legend, Ash. Thank you very much for that.
I can buy you some more time. As the American that I am, here we go. We have fastest lap for Penelope Dobbins here at a 1:59.687. I think that's the times we're kind of looking for here, the 1:59 section. But to buy you some more time, is it Silverstone or Silverstone? I hear people pronounce it differently. I have the American accent. What is...
Well, with me being Scottish, that's literally the last person you want to ask on anything on pronunciation. So we spell Silverstone, it's Silverstun, it's Silverstone. But it's pronounced Silverstone, usually by any other actually intellectual part of the country here. So yeah, Silverstone is usually how it is pronounced here, and you're absolutely spot on with that one, Ash, about the times coming in. As Dobbins there with a 1:59.687. Anything under 2 minutes is going to be a very, very good time to get in. So Penelope Dobbins there with a cracking time just now. However, when the pro drivers get behind the wheel, this is when you really start seeing some of the ridiculous lap times coming in. And I'm again just going from memory here. I'm pretty sure you can see things like 1:57s, 1:58s around here, but we'll wait and see. 25 minutes left to go in the session, but of course the first 15 minutes dedicated to those AM drivers as well, and try to keep up with it, because last season rather, we had the I think it was the gold and silver, and this year it's back to the pro and the AM, and they're in the same car as well, so there's no difference. There's no different car that they're going to be in that pro and AM. It's literally just done on their perceived ability and in terms of their performance throughout the season. And don't be surprised as well if they get promoted or demoted either way in those different classes as the season goes on. But I'm loving this new overlay with these flashing text notifications. That makes our life a lot easier there.
Especially if anything from the stewards pops up, it's always easier for us to read than just kind of pop over in the Discord and see what's going on. So loving how it looks on the screen, absolutely. And mentioning Penelope Domids, she's actually a new entry, the number 87, as well as number 13, Catherine Razi.
That's yeah, we'll take that.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Catherine.
Honestly, you're with the person that butchers everybody's name. My inbox is usually full at the end of these broadcasts from very, very disgruntled sim racers after I've miscalled them several thousand times during the stream. But we're currently watching Eris Aphelion here. They're doing a grand job coming through into the final couple of corners here, and 1.8 seconds off of pole. But again, merged in with the rest of those drivers there. And the thing for Eris is they've got a great shot if they can keep themselves onto that P3 right now. That's a very respectable position to be in. This is also proving what you were saying there earlier about the conversation that we had off air about how the drivers had a lot of practice for Zolder, but maybe not so much here for Silverstone tonight.
Yeah, these are crucial to lap time, the slower corners. So if you can get them right, like you said, the faster, more enjoyable sections will look after themselves. And this is basically a technical circuit. So if you can put it all together, I call it a fun little roller coaster. You just keep cruising and doing your best, and it's incredible. Once you nail that time, it looks great. And then we have here Dobbins with a 158.69. Incredible.
Brilliant stuff. And Natalie Lee jumps up into second place as well. Sarah Stant that we're watching just now. So 158.6 seems to be the benchmark that we've got at the moment. Philip Milway said, "What are these overlays? They look fabulous." They do. I'm so confused because, like I say, I've not seen these before. They look absolutely fantastic. I'm so used to the standard ACC overlay, and these just give you so much information in such a clear way as well. Love the relatives on the right-hand side as well. You can see that at the bottom right of your screen, the relative lap times that the drivers have done. In fact, what would be good is if we can go on board then with the driver. If we stay on board with Sarah Stant, coming through the back stretch here of the circuit, and of course there's two start-finish lines, which always gets me very, very confused.
Gets
this is coming
me
through
all the time.
Exactly, it's so difficult. The amount of times, it's like at Spa as well. Whenever I'm commentating on a race, I will always go off on one right at the start of the race, only to realise that they've still got to turn the corner and head down the hill to cross the start-finish line. So we've just gone through Maggots and Beckett's there. You saw the right-hander there at Klopp's corner there. Now we're on to the hangar straight here. This is a great chance for a lot of the cars to get some of the aerodynamic run, a little bit of toe down this back straight here. It's last late breakers down into Stowe. This right-hand corner here, you really want to turn in as late as you possibly can. Let the throttle back out, down on the run towards Club Corner as well. This little part here is called Vale. I always overshoot this, always off into that little bit on the right-hand side there. Really good to get a great exit out of here, so you get a run through Club and then out onto the Hamilton straight here as Sarah Stant comes across to start the second part of it. Then through it's into Abbey and then into the farm curve as well. This little left-hander here is absolutely nothing, but it's so important to stay on the left-hand side because you want to keep that car nice and balanced so you can hit the brakes, or you're going to do what Sarah does there, go really deep into Village Corner, then back onto the brakes again at the loop, and at which point I've usually ripped the wheel off the stand and just Alt F4'd out of the game by this point here.
Delete System 32. Just
delete window. Just delete the whole computer out the window. Usually, that works normally for me. But we were explaining, or rather, I was explaining about how I've sort of retired from sim racing. But it seems a little bit dubious to say that I've retired from sim racing, because retiring from something means that you were somewhat competent at it in the first place. I've basically just unplugged it all and just it's in the cupboard for a day when I feel less. lethargic about it all.
So what would it take for us to have you take it out of the cupboard and start doing it all over again? What can we do for you?
A magic infusion of competence and ability that would not putting GT3 car into the wall at every given opportunity. That would be perfect for me. I did a couple of sim races live on the sim grid once. I think one with our very own Michael Hamlet, and it was like I consider myself as actually not too bad a driver, but then you drive with some of these guys and girls and you're just like, wow, yeah, I need to just not do that.
Maybe we should get you into ovals.
I do actually quite enjoy the ovals on iRacing. I did get into that for a little bit, but it's difficult because you go through like death, and then you actually have a good race. But it is actually way more fun. I just don't think that I could keep that up. Meanwhile, one person that can keep it up is Emmy Floating, who is up into P2 already, 2 minutes. Strange to see though how Penelope Dobin's the only person under 2 minutes here.
Incredibly crushing. Definitely knows the Silverstone circuit, getting her 158.690. Very cool to see, and interesting to see how she can keep up that lap time during the race.
Yeah, it's a good friend of mine used to always say times to show, points to go. And I guess that's really, really true on that. But again, I'm looking at that group of Emmy Floating, Natalie Lee, Erisa Felion, Maya LaFerla, and Lisa Louise, all within like 0.6 of a second there. So again, just showing you how close it is. And then Sarah Stant, Charlotte Robertson, Maren Edwards, Rosie, and Baijian, all within that sort of 1 second mark as well. So again, you've got to have these cracking little battles through, as we've got just about 2 minutes left to go here on the AM part of qualifying. Now as well, with the fact that we've got the 2 races tonight, and that was a little bit of a wobble coming into Club Corner there for Natalie Lee, that's something you're going to see quite a lot here. But with these 2 races on the menu tonight here, Ash, how important do you think it is then? Obviously it's good to get a good qualifying because it sets you up well for race 1, but obviously you've then got to think about race 2, and again, how much do you push it on race 1? Do you want to try and get a good result overall if you're going for points, like get the best one you can, and taking risks? How hard do you push it this early in the season, I guess is what I'm asking.
I think it's going to come down to it being a race of attrition. I think we saw a lot of battles, some incidents as folks are trying to learn each other out, like I mentioned, their styles and such at Zolder. So here at Silverstone, when it's so technical, and you need to make sure your corner entries are perfect, your exits, you're hitting the throttle early in some corners, and then you'll have probably a lot of folks side by side in a lot of these. It'll be very interesting to see who kind of survives those battles, essentially. And yeah, I think first race you go for points, and then second race you go all out for position and points. Is my idea. Kind of suss out in race 1, see how everyone else is ranking, and then go from there.
Well, this could be potentially our second sub 2 minute lap. Erisa Felion comes across the line, not quite able to improve on it. In fact, I think that was a bit of time lost at the exit of Cobb's Corner there. Of Abbey there. So yeah, not quite happening there for Erisa Felion. The thing with this as well is that, given how much the gap is between Penelope Dobbins and Emmy Floating, I think Emmy Floating, from the sounds of it, is about 4, 5, 6 tenths up just now. There we go. Only second car into the sub 2 minute group here. That's a fantastic lap there, Ash.
Let's go. I'm taking notes right now on my phone as they're driving. Like, what can I do better when I'm racing the circuit in ACC? I think all of us watching right now, Natalie doing a great job, currently slightly quicker. Let's see if she can be our next in the sub 2.
What I love is, obviously, as usual, we have a mixture of both Michael Hamlet and our broadcast producer, Mike Yao, behind the scenes, making this all happen. They're in our voice chat as well. They're the ones that give us all the important information. We just sound like we know what we're talking about most of the time. But whenever you hear that, you hear the guys in the background getting so passionate about all of these drivers. That's one of the things that I love about this championship. There's so much, emotionally invested in this series being a success and these drivers getting the best out of what they can possibly do here. It's always struck me, I think, Ash, as well, just how important this series has been to champion that whole idea of females in not just sim racing, but in esports competitive sim racing.
David, why did you ruin the fact that we sounded smart? Now everyone knows that it's not us. How dare you?
I broke that illusion about 5 years ago, unfortunately, Ash. I just, I find honesty is the best policy, and then they take it a little bit easier on me
they
on
know
YouTube
it's not
chat.
Us, right? We just like to talk a lot. Absolutely. So shout out to our broadcast team, because we obviously couldn't be doing this without you guys. And of course, making us sound good on the broadcast. We appreciate it. But yes, I mean, more female racers, this being season 6, producing incredible racers, showcasing them, where a lot of folks don't get that experience amongst all the sim racing world, honestly. And so we have some folks coming into their first ever experience of sim racing competitively. We have to see those with experience coming in and improving, which is always fun to see. And then we have some women teaming up together to become SimGrid Endurance Cup Split 3 champions, and then go on to race in SRO esports globally. So, incredible series that really highlights and shows off what these women can do. Ooh, a little bit of grass there.
Yeah, Ruby Acosta, that's a little bit of an awkward moment. Thankfully, it is just the first lap there, so the car's just heading out. So we have done the transition then. We are now watching the pro car. So let's take you through the Amfield so far then. Penelope Dobbins in pole position with that 158.690. Emmy Flooding in second place. It's then Natalie Lee in third. Then you have got Eris Aphelion in fourth. Maya LaFerla in fifth, with Lisa Louise in 6th position. 7th is Olivia Hayward. 8th is going to be Martin Edwards. Then in 9th position you've got Sarah Stant. 10th position is Catherine Rosie. 11th position is going to be Charlotte Robertson. And then back of the AMS, Kaylee Bajan. And that is a name that I'm absolutely going to just destroy all night, unfortunately. It's I'm sure it's Bajan, but please feel free to murder me in the YouTube comments if that is not correct. But either way, pro qualifying on, and this is where usually the blisteringly fast, outrageously fast lap times start coming in here. Now with only 11 minutes left to go, I think the pressure is a little bit higher for the pros, because the AMs coming out first, they set the times, they set that benchmark, and we've seen it before in previous seasons. Some of those AM times are pretty hot with the pro times.
I'm very interested to see. Ooh, Alexa. I was just going to ask.
Wow!
But Alexa Gates coming straight out, and Thompson 157.425. And Thompson with a 157.785. Only 0.360 away. Holy moly! I was just going to ask if we could see any sub 158s, and put my money where my mouth is. That was cool. That was good timing.
So I guess you could say they've come out the gate storming. Yeah.
Hey.
That is going to be the best attempt at humour you're going to get all night.
David's
so
not
he's going to have
back.
to deal with it.
Sam, where are you? We missed you.
So 10 minutes left to go in the qualifying session here for round 2 of more female racers, powered by Mercedes-AMG. We are watching the pros out on qualifying. Pros by name, pros by nature as well. Alexa Gates currently fastest on track, 157.425. We're just having pointed that out in our ear there. One of the cool things about this new overlay that we've got on board is, if you have a look at the bottom right, just above where it says Honor Rose there, you can see those colours designate sector time. So obviously the green means it's a personal best, purple means it's fastest sector overall, and so on and so forth. So that gives you an at-a-glance guide, but you can see Honor fastest in sector 2, but Alexa Gates absolutely just demolishing it in sector 1 and 3, and I'd argue those are the ones that you really need to have.
I love these new overlays. Like you said, it makes our job a lot easier because we just say what's on the screen, right? We're just pointing out the times and the lap times. So these look incredible. Fastest lap for Rose, 157.042. I'm just going to say 157 there. That is, she set that up perfectly.
I'm a bit disappointed though. I've kind of lost the bet that I had with myself about Honor Rose and how long it would take her to absolutely crush that pole position. However, I would like to say, I mean, it's not been crushed. That's 0.4 of a second. That is very, very strong pole position time. But I've seen races where Honor has gone like a second faster than the entire field, which is like, it shouldn't even be a thing. So great to see that this is still a fantastic little battle here. Looks like Denise Pope then jumps up into 9th position, 159.490, and I believe every single one of those pros right now is almost, well, no, we've got 2 or 3 that are outside, but almost every one of those pros here, Ash, is under that 2-minute marker. So again, just shows the amount of work that goes into these preparations here.
And like I said before, I hope you're also taking notes, David, for when you decide to sim race back here in ACC on Silverstone to see how we can get sub 2 minutes. And maybe
sorry, was this supposed to inspire me, Ash? This has inspired me to put my setup on eBay. That's all that's happening now. We're done here. There's no way I'm competing with things like that. However, if you did want to compete with the likes of all of the drivers that you see on screen here, one of the best ways you can do that is check out some of the amazing setups that they have over on Coach Dave Academy. You can improve your time and get your setups all up to speed. And also, it's been a while since I've been on Coach Dave Academy, but I see all the updates and everything that they're doing. It's ridiculous now. They've got like telemetry analysis, you get coaches looking over all of your work, everything. It's mad to see how many arms and legs that Coach Dave Academy and the Sim Grid have taken on over the past 12 months. So 6.5 minutes left to go, so 6 3/4 minutes left to go. Honor Rose on 157.042. Do we think, Ash, that anybody has got it in the tank to try and snatch that pole position away?
I am going to say, you think we're going to see a sub 157? I'm going to say no. You think there's going to be a possible 156.8, 0.7? I'm going to think Honor Rose is going to take this qualifying here in P1. She's going to get pole.
Yeah, I agree. I think Honor's going to get pole position, but I think Honor has got more in the tank. I think we're going to see possibly a 150.
She'll beat her own time? Oh, I love that.
Possibly, and this is just absolute speculation for anyone that's listened to me commentate before, thoroughly used to this. At 156.7.8, I think is going to be the fastest pole time. Although the question is, do they need to? Does Honor need to go and put that extra time in unless she feels threatened by the likes of Alexa Gates and Victoria Thompson? The other thing as well, look at that gap between second and third place, 2 1,000ths of a second. And while, this is just qualifying, right? This is not respective or any sort of indication of race pace. But it sure as hell makes it very, very interesting, given that all of these cars are going to be bunched up together at the front. And you've got so many choke points here at Silverstone, Ash. You've got so many points where you're slowing the car down to maybe, say, second or third gear. I get the feeling that some people are going to feel a little bit brave tonight.
Definitely. We saw that in Solder, where we had, I think at some point, almost 3 to 4 wide in certain corners. It'll be very interesting to see how that comes out here in Silverstone. Like you mentioned, they're so close together, and when you're all bunched up, battling, defending, etc., we're definitely going to see some interesting racing and passing. It's going to be wildly entertaining, and we have 2 races to remind folks here watching on the YouTube and the broadcast that will, again, the first race, everyone's going to be learning from each other, kind of how they handle Silverstone, and we'll see where they bunch up. And then the second race, I think it's all out. That's where you make your moves.
Gloves are off is how I usually like to refer to it, because it gets properly scrappy. The other thing that I love about this is that obviously, one of the things that was more female racers was designed for was to not only encourage females into competitive sim racing, but it was also to provide a nice protective space a protective environment where it's encouraged. It's, you know, we take it sort of a little bit easier. You know, we're not going to rage on drivers for making mistakes and things like that. We encourage driver development all the way through the season as well. And you know, that's what I love as well, is the little niggles that you see developing through the season here, Ash. The little fights, the little temper tantrums that you start seeing between certain drivers. And honestly, I love it. It plays out like a soap opera all the way through the season, and it just gets better and better and better. And every season so far that I've kind of been very fortunate to be a part of, it's just been so engrossing, as much as watching all of the action out there on track as Sarah Duff comes across. Can't quite improve on that lap time that she's got, but just watching all of these little subtle nuances develop over the season, absolutely fascinating.
Right, so you can put up the fastest lap times in qualifying. You could be consistent on the most perfect lines and the most perfect laps. When it comes to the race, you often do not get that perfect lap, that perfect setup, because someone's next to you, behind you, you're defending, you're in the offense, a little bit of everything. So it's great to see them learning not only about, you know, setting up the perfect lap, the race, the qualifying, but learning racecraft, racing with each other, learning from those snippets, learning from those moments of either incidents or if they weren't able to overtake, and taking that back with them and seeing them at the next race. I think it's really incredible for sim racing. You're always constantly learning, not only the braking, but like I mentioned, the racecraft. So I think this is one of those circuits where that's emphasized, and we'll definitely see that in the later part of race 1 once we get a couple of laps in, and then definitely in race 2 once everyone has seen each other and how they've raced.
Rubia Costa. Yeah, sorry, on you go.
3/10 up currently. I think you're about to say the same thing I was, so it's perfect in unison. Currently 3/10 up on her lap. Ooh, moving up to P4.
Great little improvement there from Rubia Costa. I was just waiting to say 100% behind you, talking about racecraft and developing that sixth sense that you have to have, especially as a sim racing driver as well, but also in the real life. Now, I'm very fortunate to have a tiny little bit of experience in real life racing and a lot of experience in sim racing, and I cannot get over to you how important having that ability to be around other cars is. Now, I've been in massively underpowered cars compared to this, little Citroen C1s and Peugeot 107s, but when you've got like 40 or 50 of them, or even 90 of them that we had at Silverstone in 2019, I think it was, the thing is that your eyes are on stocks. You have to be so aware of where everybody is. And then when I came to do it myself in the City Car Cup as well, you know, you can't race like you race in sim racing. You can't be anywhere near as aggressive as you are in sim racing, because they're real cars, and real cars cost money, and especially when you have to repair them. But in sim racing, it doesn't matter. Your car's magically fixed for race 2, so you can absolutely send it. The worst you've got to contend with is getting an absolute spanking from race control and from the stewards as well. But racecraft is such an important thing, in awareness, situational awareness as well. ACC probably one of the best sims to help that, with the fact that you've got your car radar, you've got your driver radar shown at all times. But yeah, such an important skill, as we see Beata Bachenska going across the line. Slight improvement on that last lap there, but not enough to move up the boards just now. 158.617, 20 seconds on the board then. And I've got to be honest, I think you're right. I think that is us going to be done and dusted in terms of Honor Rose at the top of the time screens. We've got Alexa Gates here, but no improvements on the sectors here. So yeah, probably no surprises to see Honor at the top of the timing there. But again, it just builds itself over for a very, very interesting race 1 here.
I am super excited. And kind of to your point about the racecraft and such, just, of course, there's physical exertion in sim racing, especially what kind of rig you have, your direct drive, etc. But I also want to talk about just the mental health of these drivers, especially the mental fortitude you have to sim race. Forget about endurance racing. Like you said, your head's constantly on a swivel, but you're also driving the car. You have to be aware of the corners. You're constantly taking little notes in your head, hitting those break points. At some point, certain things become second nature, but your mind is constantly going around everything: the defense, the offense, the race strategy. You're your tire's okay? Did you brake at the right point? Now you have to accelerate at the exact moment. So there's definitely a little bit of something to think about at every millisecond of the track. So after a sim race, I'm definitely one to get into a blanket burrito and just lay on my couch and have no thoughts going across my brain because I'm so exhausted. So I can't imagine how they feel in more female sim racers just competing their butts off against the best of the best here.
And that's the other thing as well, Ash, is we're coming to the end of the session here. Alexa Gates coming through the last couple of sectors here. Don't see any improvement whatsoever here. 1:27.425 was the time here. But again, just on that mental exhaustion part of it, because it absolutely is when you think that, you know, you're in the same environment, you've just constantly staring at a screen for however long that you're actually taking part in the race, as Victoria Thompson comes across the line as well. The thing is that, you know, you're exhausted by the end of race one, and then you get like 10 minutes of a break before you have to go and do it all over again for that second race of the evening. But anyway, qualifying is done and dusted. No surprise really to see Honor Rose at the top of the timing screens there. We'll take you through all of the order as we get the cars on grid. But race one coming up first. This is going to be a very, very spicy affair here.
Oh, but we love it when it's spicy, and it keeps the racing entertaining when not just one, team is taking it all, or one racer is just taking it all every single week after week. It's great to see them constantly competing. And like I said, throughout the entire grid, we're not only looking at the podium, we're looking throughout the entire grid, like I mentioned. So it's great to see all the action. I know our broadcast team was talking previously how there's so much going on. It's hard to pan the camera because, like, where are we going? What are we looking at now, second by second? So it'd be great to see what action we get to see today.
It really, really is. I'm slightly distracted by the YouTube chat because Tetranomicon is someone after my own heart, talking about no fist fights in the Tesco parking lot. That's the where we're going with it. And then bringing up the point that, the girls that he knows, there'll be bare knuckle fist fighting. So, knowing the drivers as I do, yes, I can thoroughly agree. Let's take you through the grid then for our first race of the evening then. And it's Honor Rose on pole position. Alexa Gates lining up on row 1 alongside Victoria Thompson, with Ruby Acosta on row 2, Sarah Dove and Beata Bachenska in row 3. And then it's Penelope Dobbins from AM in row 4 alongside Anna Foster. Row 5 is going to be Denise Pope and Skylar Vixen, Emmy Flooding and Josie Austin on row 6. Then it's Natalie Lee and Maya Lefaria down there. In fact, actually, we've got 14th place. Sorry, that's Eris Aphelion, who's not quite jumped onto the grid yet. That's why they are missing from that. That's row 7. Row 8 is going to be Maya Lefaria and Lisa Louise. Then on row 9, you've got Olivia Hayward and Maren Edwards. Row 10 is going to be Sarah Stant alongside Catherine Rosie. And then on row 11, Callie Bajan, and then alongside Charlotte Robertson, 21st and 22nd. Respectively. A 30-minute race here. It's safe to say all these drivers would like to go for a lie down after this one. But my goodness me, this is I love that we got a little flash of the lights there from Charlotte Robertson as we see their car at the end.
And some incredible liveries, extremely creative, and some great messages on those cars. Love to see it. It's really great.
Formation lap is underway, and that is a brilliant point actually, Ash, about the amount of effort now that goes into designing these liveries. Now, one that always stands out is the car we're watching here, Denise Pope from Wild Things Racing. Just a ridiculously talented graphical artist, but also does amazing skins and just looks really, really good. But the thing is that that's the par now. That's the kind of the level of attention to detail that goes in. And with many of these drivers now as well, Ash, and from your experience as well of going to events, being a Twitch streamer and being on YouTube as well, you get brands that are interested. You've maybe got brands that you're representing as well. And it's such a wonderful place now where for all these drivers, they're like, I'm getting actual recognition, I'm getting actual support for what I'm doing here, and you get to rock up in these beautiful looking machines.
I think one of my favorite liveries I've seen is someone who had the student driver sticker on the back of the car. Definitely something I would love to have for my next endurance race. But to your point,
I didn't quite. Oh, sorry. I was just waiting quickly to say. I think because I saw on the YouTube chat there was quite a few mentions of the BUSR, and I'm sure that's the British Union Sim Racing Student something. But yeah, I think that's to do with the universities and sim racing as well.
Ooh, okay. So I don't know many universities in the United States who have sim racing activities or such. Is that a thing?
It's a British thing, so it's the BUSR. They do. I'm sure I've seen them. They do karting as well and a lot of other motorsport events.
I think we're starting to somewhat see that in the United States, as we have a lot of folks from NASCAR who started in sim racers. I mean, I always point out, like Raja Karuth from Washington, D.C., where I currently live, started as a sim racer, now racing in NASCAR. So really incredible to see it from the real life applications. We have some folks in GT World Challenge, Christopher Carpi, who was a sim racer, moved on to real life racing. So I think it's one of the few sports you can actually do that, because you can't really play FIFA on the console and then say that you can be a great player. But here in sim racing, the skill really does apply.
It really does, and what I find strange about that is that the crossover I would have imagined would have been much bigger, because obviously you've got a fantastic setup over there with IMSA, sports car racing, the MX-5s, which I am just the global Mazda MX-5 series, absolutely obsessed with watching that. It's one of the, if you've never seen it, is one of the greatest real-life racing series you will ever see in your life. But that transition from sim racing to real life racing, I'm sure, again, I'm not 100% on NASCAR, it's something that I dip in and out of, but William Byron came from iRacing, didn't he?
And they're also constantly in iRacing, which is cool to see. Some professional folks always jumping back into the sim world and just racing with us. What we call us normies. When we jump on our grids once a week while they're practicing every single day. So that's always really cool to see, being part of the community like that.
But it does mean something, doesn't it? Even just as a sim racer, when you see these big famous names pop into the same session that you're in, you're like, oh my god, that's such and such. Like, I remember being in an iRacing F3 random event, just like a normal race with, and Lando Norris was there. And I'm like, oh my god! And this was before it was the whole F1 Lando. So it's amazing how starstruck you can easily get. Like tonight, I'm on a commentary stream with none other than Ash Vandley. Who would have thought it? But we'll put that to the side just now. 30 minutes is on the clock here at Silverstone for race 1 of round 2 of more female racers powered by Mercedes-AMG. It's going to be Alexa Gates and Honora Rose leading up the front row of a field of a lot of Mercedes-AMG cars. 22 cars taking to the grid tonight. What are we thinking, chat? Are we going to see chaos in turn 1, or are we going to see it nice and clean? Yes, there we go. Love it. Right, let's get underway. Alexa Gates then side by side with Honora Rose. We wait to see the green flag, and it drops, and that's a stunning start there. That surely was too good of a start there from Alexa Gates round Cox. Side by side then, everybody makes it through then, still side by side. Alexa Gates tries to take the inside line through Maggots and Beckett, but there goes the Rose. Have a look at Victoria Thompson, try to have a look on the outside there, can't quite make it through, pulls that car round the right hander here. This is what I always noticed from Honora as well. First lap, very, very vulnerable. If you've not got that move done by lap 1, that's it. It's Honora will blitz off into the sunset. Very, very hopeful for what we're seeing here, but a great start from all of the cars here, Ash.
That was clean, and I'm happy to eat my words, because I was saying chaos, but that was incredible. Currently an incident involving Sarah Stant, car 604. We'll get that for you. Ooh, off in the grass. I think an incident. Now Lily and Eris Filion as well. I think we see that back there.
Yeah, you can see them just off in the background. There in the car, dives up the inside, into the club corner, and comes off the worst of it. That was Catherine Rosie and Sarah Stant caught up in that one as well. But there is Alexa Gates then, and you can see Ruby Acosta. Oh, and that's a big hit onto the back of Ruby Acosta, dropping all the way down the order there. Well, what's happened there is we've been lulled into a false sense of security here on lap 1, thinking, oh, this is a really, really good start to the race, and then all hell breaks loose.
Peter's curse, because I was saying it was too quiet, so they heard me, and I appreciate racers for keeping things interesting. We'll see what the stewards have to say about these incidents. We see another off track back there, but it seems everyone's back on the grid, and climbing their way back up from their incidents. Ruby Costa down to P10, but surely make her way back. Currently, Alexa Gates still P2 with Nora Rose. And Nora Rose with the fastest lap currently with 2:05, but we'll see if she can get that back down to a 1:57. All right. No side-by-sides this time on the second lap.
Yeah, this is what tends to happen here at Silverstone. It's a difficult one because, you know, unless the cars all get bunched up together, there's always a risk of this, the cars sort of spreading out and just deciding to race their own race, which actually makes a lot of sense as well, because, you know, you want to take your opportunities when they come, but you don't want to put yourself in harm's way where it doesn't need to be happening. And Sarah Dove doing exactly that. You can see just behind some of the cars just in front, and that's Bajan. That is in 16th place. That's went all the way down there. So that is Kali Bajan dropping down. It looked like just running wide there. I think that might have been possibly into Stowe Corner there. So you hate to say it, but manages to recover there. Lisa Louise for Positive Perception Racing down into Club Corner has got Maya Laferla and Emmy Flooding in company as well. I'm just watching that battle for the lead as well, though. I know Rose still being held to account from Alexa Gates, but Victoria Thompson also hold on to this. This is a cracking little battle that we've got going on here for 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th position here, Ash.
Like I said, racing throughout the grid, and I think something to your point earlier that Silverstone is such a technical circuit, you can see where their strengths and weaknesses, so we'll see little groups fighting throughout the race, seeing where they can adjust for their previous laps or go on from there on defense.
And the defense is such a valuable trait here at Silverstone as well, because if you can make the car as wide as possible, given the only overtaking or the best overtaking opportunities are on the exit of the corner where it leads to a long straight. Are you kidding me? 157.662 in race round for Anora Rose. That is a remarkable lap there from Anora Rose there. Brilliant to see that's already gone, and that's already now a second gap. This is what I was saying here, Ash, is that Anora typically, if she can't get caught on that first lap there, then that gap just goes absolutely out so quickly. But it usually then starts dropping back as well, so we'll wait to see. But we're on board with Victoria Thompson, and you can see Alexa Gates just up in front. This is on the run down to Stowe Corner as well. A little bit of a deep run in from Alexa Gates, gets away with it, but that brings the gap even closer as well. And for me, I'm kind of way too undisciplined and want to try and send in at every opportunity here.
Oh, every opportunity. It just seems like a good idea, because you're like, oh, I can make this, and then you realize that sausage curb is unsettling your car, flying into the stands.
So interesting fact here, the top three are now 5 seconds ahead of the entire field in 2.5 laps. How is that even a thing? We're watching Anna Foster here onto the back of Beata Bachenska here. Some very nervous, twitchy looking cars here that Mercedes likes to dance about under the braking as the weight gets transferred from the rear to the front of the car. And that's why you see it twitching about. You can see Sarah Dove and Penelope Dobbins here. I'll be honest, I can see Penelope actually on that pace, Ash, maybe getting promoted to pro.
It is so incredible coming in here and then kind of dominating the lap times and the qualifying. It's very cool to see, making that statement. And then we still have, like you mentioned, Anora Rose, just kind of pulling away here. But to your point, for the top three being now 6 seconds more away from P4, you have these, like I said, these chunks happening. But then we have battles for P4, 5, and 6, and 7, excuse me. And then we have then next P8, P9, P10. So we'll see it all up and down the grid as now we've gone a couple laps in 3 and seeing how they can keep up with each other's paces, each other's technical skills here in Silverstone, and hopefully no one makes any mistakes as they have to get into throttles early, the technical parts where they have to slow down, even some to first gear. And we see here Anna Foster now in P5, like I mentioned, battling Sarah Dove. And of course, when you're on the defense, you do lose some time on the offense trying to catch up. So that comes into huge play. An incident involving Olivia Hayward and Charlotte Robertson.
Yeah, that is awful to say. Oh, that's another instant there. Beta Bachenska and Anna Foster coming into contact at the exit of Stowe Corner. We've got confirmation there. Contact! And that is Anna Foster and Beta Bachenska. I think that was Beta that's facing round the wrong way. But my goodness me, that was a heck of a spin there. It is Beta Bachenska then facing round the wrong way, gets going there. And I get the feeling that all started from that contact, Ash, at Stowe Corner. A little bit of red mist descending, and it just looked like, with the car on the left-hand side, I think that was Beta that just wanted to try and get that position. That was never going to happen.
And that definitely... Oh, we have another off track here. Ruby Acosta. I'm not sure if that was a incident with a car or a spin there, but dropping a couple positions, which I think she can catch back right up. And unfortunately, Bata Bojenska was around P4, I believe, dropping back down to P10. We do have 22 minutes left, and like I said, race of attrition. You never know what can happen up front.
Yeah, Emmy floating, we're watching just now, is running wide there, dropping all the way down. I think there's some damage to that car potentially, and you can see the car in 14th position there. That is absolutely wrecked. As oh yeah, that's Emmy floating that was in 14th position there, but dropping all the way down to 16. So need to try and get an idea on whose car that is. It's just in the front there, absolutely battered, something rotten. I'm sure that's not doing the aero any good whatsoever. And that's Erisifelion actually. So they have had a horrid start to this race here, and you can see really struggling. As who is that going very wide at Copse Corner? The other thing as well is, remember, if you're a fast driver and you get sent backwards into these group further down the order, you're going to struggle trying to get past them, even if you're faster, Ash.
Absolutely. And like we mentioned before, any mistake can cost so much time here. And we have, by the way, Honor Rose sets the next fastest lap, beating herself at a 157.470. I think she's just up front having a great time.
Yeah, for sure. Victoria Thompson then onto the back of Alexa Gates here. We've done 10 minutes somehow of this race already. I don't know where on earth that 10 minutes has absolutely gone, but it has. And Honor Rose now off by 2.5 seconds to the good ahead of Alexa Gates. So it's Honor Rose from Alexa Gates, Victoria Thompson in third, Anna Foster in fourth position, Sarah Dove in fifth. Then you have got your AM driver of Penelope Dobbins, an AM driver up in P6. That is fantastic effort there from Penelope. Denise Pope in seventh, Skylar Vixen in eighth, Josie Austin in ninth. I'll have to check whether Josie Austin is still with the whole team cupcakes. And then Beta Bachenska is down in P10 just now, but 20 minutes left to go. This, I would imagine, Ash, is the time where the drivers really need to just sort of settle down and get themselves into that rhythm.
Yeah, settle down, grab a snack. No, completely kidding. Definitely settle down, lock in, focus on your entries and exits, as my crew chief likes to say when I'm racing. Slow in, fast out. And here we have a replay.
That's is that Denise Pope on the inside there? Oh my good lord! Absolutely sent it into the wall there. So that's why we had, I think that might have been, was that Ruby Acosta? Oh, so that was right on the end of lap one. So that explains why we had several cars towards the back of the grid. But that car that was backwards into the barrier, that was a lot of damage on that car.
So much damage, and we're having some incidents and time penalties for said incidents. Between car 939, which is Eris Aphelion, and car 19, which is Natalie Lee. 5-second time penalty for Natalie Lee for causing a collision, and then the incident between car 604, which is Sarah Stant, and car 13, which is Catherine Rossi. 10-second penalty for Catherine right there for causing the collision. So.
I get the feeling that the penalty channel in Discord is going to be very busy tonight, Ash. There's going to be a lot of talking.
Shout out to our stewards.
they're going to need a cup of coffee and possibly some donuts after tonight. Maybe even some therapy, who knows, with the way things are going. But we're coming up rapidly to the second half of this first race. And if I'm honest, I'm just watching Victoria Thompson there. We'll come back to that thought in a second. Rubio Costa. Right, there's the answer to your question then. You wondered if that was a collision with someone. But no, it wasn't. It was just all by themselves there. I'm glad that Ruby decided to take that choice of action for the rejoin. Never a fan of a poor rejoin. That was actually a really good rejoin from Ruby. I thought they were going to move it over to the right hand side, but they didn't.
And almost saved it. I saw that twitch there at the end.
Yeah.
You're face the right way. It's like, oh, so close. When it works out, it works out. But of course, when it doesn't, you're like, oh, shucks, I got to turn all the way around.
Can you save it in the Merc though? Because I've never, and again, it's iRacing, it's iRacing. You can, oh my good lord, right? So here, this is what happened, right? It's Stoke Corner. Beta gets that collision. I think felt a little bit aggrieved, and then just decides to, well, no, see, it's not that at all. Beta rolled off the brakes, got that little bit of gap there. I don't see any malice or any intention. Certainly it looked like a little bit of frustration initially when I saw that, but absolutely on the replay, no chance. There was nothing aggressive in that at all. I think it was a little bit of confusion there, and if anything, it's just an awkward one. You know, the cars can't disappear if you've got a car side by side, as we see Sarah Dove, Penelope Dobbins. Is Penelope going to try and make a move up the inside? Sorry, that's Anna Foster. So this is for P4 and 5. We didn't see that happening on the screen there, but Anna Foster regains that position, and Sarah Dove back down into P5. Penelope Dobbins, excuse me, is looking very, very comfortable. As we've got another replay here. This is Natalie Lee up to the inside then. And what happens here for Natalie Lee? That's a car spinning just in front and a little bit of contact. That's a horrible one for me, because, you know, what's Natalie supposed to do when you've got a car that's lost the end, and Sarah Duff is off? What on earth have we missed? That's another 5 replays now we're going to have.
Shout out to our broadcast team trying to keep updated with everything that's going on, but also showing the replays of things we might have missed because of other incidents and going back and forth. Oh, here, Callie and Catherine. Oh no, but right back on the grid, which is great to see. Not having to do any rejoins there. Very quick incident. We'll have to get a replay of that amongst our other ones.
You were joking about, you were saying about our broadcast team. No lie, I did. I started dabbling my toes last year and doing broadcast production myself, and I lasted about 8 months at it. I couldn't hack it. I couldn't hack the stress. It was just unreal. The pressure that goes on bringing just something like this is unreal, because you've got like 4 different PCs. You've got 15 monitors. It's honestly, you live on caffeine, and it's such an amazing output that we get to bring you here. So yeah, absolutely behind you on that one. We need to pick apart what the hell has just happened here though, because in the space of 2.5 minutes here, the race has just exploded all over the place. Anna Foster now up into that 4th position there, ahead of Penelope Dobbins. And Dobbins now, you've got to say, as an AM driver, this is a very sketchy time, because you can see the championship organisers looking and going, an AM driver, I think we'll have to change that.
Hopefully, that'd be very great for her. But seeing how, essentially competing with the pros and seeing yourself up there and comparatively looking at your times in qualifying and in the race, being consistent, that definitely helps with that debate and that argument. And that move up. Again, here we have Victoria Thompson. Ooh, pulling a move.
Almost gets it done though. This is getting very interesting. Oh, and that's gone deep though for Alexa Gates. This is all going to be round into that right-hander here. That was a great run from Victoria Thompson. This could be it up the straight here towards that right-hander at Copse Corner. Not happening though. It's surely not going to happen around the outside of Copse. I think Victoria was just waiting for an opportunity here. Gets the better line and gets the cutback. Here we go. What a move, side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. How on earth, Ash Vandelay, is this one going to end? Well, there you go. Answered it for you.
I was to say, hopefully clean as well, because we want to continue seeing this racing for the next 13 minutes. This battle is incredible and something we all enjoy, which is why we're all here.
It really, really is. That was fantastic, and that was great awareness from Victoria as well. Just thinking, I'll put the pressure on, but I'm not going to push it too far. I'm just wanting to play some mind games right now with Alexa Gates, and pace-wise, I mean, the two of them are not that far off of Honor Rose. In fact, what's happened to Honor Rose? That gap was about 5.2 seconds. It is going up. It was just the timing screen taking a little bit of time to update itself there, but again, 13 minutes left to go now as we see Sarah Dove and Denise Pope fighting it out here. So it looks like Pope has just lost out on that 6th position. Sarah Dove sent up the inside, and Denise is, very, very fair in terms of that one. One of the comments I want to bring to your attention, Ash, is, and this is one of the things that I always try and bring up during my time on here, is Antelope was talking about the female drivers and the aggression on display, and obviously one of the stereotypes that is portrayed of female drivers are very gentle, very soft, and very, very good natured. And from my experience, I can think of drivers that I don't want to be anywhere near on the track with all of the aggression and fighting that goes on here. And the case in point with Victoria Thompson here, absolutely sending it to Alexa Gates.
And the respect of both of these drivers, aggressive but respectful. I think that's the thing. That's the key that we sometimes are missing. How they're great awareness. I mean, like you mentioned before, it's not only you have to know when to send it, you have to know when to not send it. Patience pays off in racing, and you're just putting the pressure on the car in front of you. So seeing this is very, very incredible, and knowing your racecraft that you were talking about earlier as well, very cool and very awesome to see that play out.
11 minutes left to go here. What a battle that is between Alexa Gates and Victoria Thompson. And again, you just see the oh my goodness me, who was that? That was Josie Austin that was almost sideways into that car in front.
There. And Bata benefiting there, getting that position up ahead. Oh, what an unfortunate mistake here, but it has 11 minutes to catch back up.
Oh my lord, this is getting so spicy with Victoria Thompson and Alexa Gates here. It's the same corners every single round. Eris Affiliate and Catherine Rosie have come into a bit of an issue. We'll get back to that as soon as we possibly can, but look at this from Victoria. I'm convinced at this point this is now 100% trying to distract Alexa Gates. That's all this is right now, is just trying to make that car as obnoxious in the mirrors as they possibly can. But fantastic stuff. This is so entertaining to watch right now.
And to your point about aggression, just letting folks know, after races, they're in the Discord, apologizing or taking notes or learning from each other. I think that's the great thing. Yes, we're aggressive on track, we're competing, we're battling. There is a respect on track, but there's also immense respect in the Discord, and as they're chatting with each other, learning from each other, it's really great to see that camaraderie come through.
I never see any of that niceness or respect, because they're usually too busy in my DMs shouting abuse at me for mispronouncing their names. So I'll take your word for that one on that, Ash. But it is a big thing, and joking aside, the reason that I think the series works so well is that these drivers it's almost like, I don't want to say family because that's such a cliche, but they look after each other. They look out for it. They celebrate each other's wins. They celebrate the achievements, and it feels like a collective effort, if I can say that. Rosie, is that on Stowe Corner there? No, that's coming onto the Hamilton Straight, I think that is. But oh man, that is a horrible, horrible day at the races. But that's certainly the impression, is that it feels like a very warm sense of community there.
Yeah. A rising tide raises all ships, so more female racers get to highlight every single one, and then if we all support each other, we all get to the top. So that's the way to do it.
And how have you found that with your experience in sim racing as well? Because obviously you do a lot of sim racing yourself in terms of your Twitch content, and you'll curate that for your YouTube content. How have you found your experience into sim racing?
I think if you foster the right community and you focus on if you just enjoy sim racing and race clean, you don't have to be good at it if you don't want to. You can just enjoy it as a hobby. However, kindness goes a long way. A lot of people look out for each other with setups or help or questions. It's really great when you find those people who just are excited, that someone is passionate about their hobby as they are. So very, very welcoming.
Oh no!
Ooh.
Penelope Dobbins! What on earth has happened to Penelope? We were singing her praises after being that leading AM car up in P5, and that looks like that's gone through Maggots and Beckett's, causing that issue there, or might have been on the exit of Stowe Corner there, but Dobbins going to drop down quite a few positions there just now. The gap also between second and third, that's opened up a little bit as well now, 4/10 of a second between Alexa Gates and Victoria Thompson. 8 minutes left to go in the session then, and Aurora Rose, as predictable, has cleared off into the sunset. There we go, more racing incidents and messages from race control. The incident between car 997 and the 734, that is a warning to car 734. So that is Anna Foster on the contact with Beta Bachenska, and then an incident between 734 and 997, that's Beta Bachenska and Anna Foster again. In fact, that'll be the later incident. That is just determined to be a racing incident. So one will be for Stowe Corner, and then one will be the contact at Club as well. Right, Victoria Thompson closing right back in here. And again, the reason that I ask Ash about your personal experience with that is because I'm genuinely interested, but also I get overly excited at this racing, so I have to find something to distract. Otherwise, I end up raising my voice and getting way too excited by about 15 minutes in, and then you kind of bore the audience for the final 5 minutes of the race here. I'm just trying to even myself out, I guess, throughout.
Oh, we can just yell the entire time if you'd like. I can raise my voice.
I tried that. I got shouted at Michael Hamlet for that one time. Yeah. Apparently I wasn't loud enough.
You're like, oh my, it wasn't loud enough. Oh, all right. We're gonna get you a megaphone then.
Well, we'll have to give that a go. We're watching Sarah Stanton here on the back of Eris Aphelion. 6.5 minutes left to go though in the race. And what's your thoughts then on this first race? Because we've had a lot of drama. We've had a lot of not chaos, but other than that,
I would call it chaos. Absolutely.
There's been some fantastic racing though.
That's what they always give us, fantastic racing. That's what we want to see. I think Victoria Thompson is I think she's waiting. Emmy flooding out. I wasn't sure if she hit the wall there. I think we caught on a little too late, but I hope she's able to rejoin. But yeah, I think Victoria Thompson just waiting for her mark, and we have some folks waiting for the last couple of laps as we're nearing the under 6 minute mark. You just want to make those moves, and hopefully you don't have to defend for the last couple of sectors. And to keep those points, and then see where we are for race 2. I think race 2 is going to be even more chaotic. I'm going to be honest with you, David.
I absolutely agree with you. This is what happened to Emmy Flooding. This is replay 1 of about 840 that we've got to go and catch up on. Oh, that looks like a hardware failure for me, just purely because that car didn't brake and also went straight into the wall there, completely straight.
That is unfortunate. It's something completely out of your control after practicing for so long.
Yeah, that's. I've had that experience once or twice with racing in VR, and you have the VR headset flicker or disconnect or go off in the middle of a race. And of course, yeah, temper tantrums definitely come out on display because it's something that's, as you said, out with your control. You've got no way to prevent it. During the race, it just happens. Going back to the fight with Victoria Thompson, I wonder if that fight is done, because that gap is now over a second between Alexa Gates and Victoria Thompson. We're watching this fight here between Anna Foster and Sarah Dove, and Sarah has absolutely been tearing her way through the field, and Anna Foster, I think, is going to have a big fight on the next 4.5 minutes. These are going to be a very, very long 4.5 minutes.
And then we can't wait for race 2 to see this continually keep happening and see what happens there. But we do have some additional incidents from race control between car 66 and 13. 50-second time penalty for car 13, which is Catherine Rosie, from car 66, Callie Badgen. And then incident between cars 19 and 13. 10-second time penalty for car 19, which is Natalie Lee, for causing a collision. And you might think, if you're watching for the first time, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, it can't be that much. But in racing, tenths of a second matter.
They absolutely do. Confirmation there from race control of those penalty messages, and they will be coming thick and fast, and it'll get to a point where the penalties actually won't be applied during the race and will be applied post-race as well. Back to the fight then with Sarah Dove and Anna Foster. Watching these two heading round as well, and again, this is what I was thinking about Victoria Thompson. It's like this situation with Sarah Dove. You get the feeling that they're just waiting to the last possible moment so that the car in front can't make a move, but Sarah Dove decides to try and fire it around the outside. Surely that's not going to work around that right-hander. It's still corner there, but I mean, fair play. This is proper gamesmanship going on here from Sarah Dove. Tries to go to the outside club corner, and there goes wide Anna Foster. That's a mistake, but Anna has the inside line, will force Sarah Dove. That was really clever from Anna there, but Sarah gets the run out here. A little bit of a nudge on the back there, and forgive me for not being too much in NASCAR, that almost looked like a little bit of a bump draft there.
Oh, Robin is racing. That's what we're doing. That's what we're seeing right now. Oh, this is incredible. Oh, getting the pass.
No way! No way! Sarah Dove so close to getting the move of the night done right there. Possibly there. Oh, that's unfortunate. A little bit of contact there. Great to see Sarah Dove just ease it off a little bit there, just to make sure that car can go round. And that was always going to happen because, you know, Anna was always going to try and turn in. But have a look at this, because here comes Penelope Dobbins and Denise Pope as well. So this is now a 4-car battle for 4th place. Unbelievable stuff. We've got 2 minutes left to go in this race.
Oh, hopeful. And that was, like I said, the respect that you see on track, letting her back in, could have just peeled away right there, but understanding what exactly just happened and then racing right together again. We'd love to see it.
Oh, this is wild stuff here, side by side, coming down the straight towards Cobb's Corner then, as Anna Foster made the mistake of letting Sarah Dove have the tiniest millimetre of a gap on the inside there. That left them right. Look at Denise Pope though, on the back of it. 2 of them is going to be in the sights right there, coming through Maggots and Beckett right now. That's a little bit wide there for Sarah Dove. Denise Pope has to back out of it as well. This is going to be a crazy finish to this race here. The gap between Alexa Gates and Victoria Thompson still 0.7 of a second as they come down the hanger straight here. This is going to be absolutely pivotal. This is going to be one of the most important corners and sections of this first race of the evening. Denise Pope closes right up to Sarah Dove, and Anna Foster running a little bit wide there. So what is going to happen down into Club Corner? Again to the outside, Sarah Dove tries to outbrake, can't quite do it, has to think on her feet here. I am absolutely stunned here, Ash.
And Penelope just watching from the back, you know, that's how you're supposed to do it. When there's 3 cars, you never know what can happen, and then you just overtake when you can, or seize on any incidents that happen in front of you. Pretty smart move, but not a lot of time, so very kind of risky play at this point with only 30 seconds left of the race. We'll see if it pays off for her.
Yeah, we're going to get one more lap out of this as they're coming around the final corner now, and Nora Rose crosses the line to start that final lap of the race here. Oh my days, this is awesome. So it's still Anna Foster leading Sarah Dove, Denise Pope and Penelope Dobbins in that battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th position here. As you can see, Victoria Thompson trying to catch on to the back of Alexa Gates as well. Not quite happening. Time is up, so this is our last lap that we are on just now. I know Rose absolutely unchallenged right now, but that unfortunately is part of the allure of Honor Rose, is the fact that just otherworldly performances every single time here on more female racers, and it serves as an amazing benchmark for these drivers to aim to and to aspire to as well. Positive perception, absolutely. Yes, it is. YouTube chat there. Jesus, this is tense. I am not going to have any fingernails. Like, I'm going to be down to the nubs of my bones and my fingers at the end of this. But I don't think it's Anna Foster that's going to be under challenge here. I think, Ash, it's going to be Sarah Duff from Denise Pope here.
Just and racing till the end, probably racing after they cross the finish line, to be honest, seeing how aggressive they're being right now. To your point earlier, they are on the track. Everything's out there.
Certainly is. So Honor Rose then coming down the final couple of corners just now, then down through the Wellington Straight for the final time here. This is what it's all about. You can see picture in picture there on the bottom right. That is your race leader, and this is what I was on about here, because have a look at this. This is going to be Alexa Gates and Victoria Thompson again fighting it out here as your race leader. Honor Rose comes round the final corner and out to win race number 1 of round 2 here of More Female Racers, powered by Mercedes-AMG. Alexa Gates is going to hold on to second place from Victoria Thompson here. Fantastic fight towards the end here, but what is going to happen with Anna Foster and Sarah Dove? Sarah Dove now right on the end of that car, moves to the inside. Is it going to be late breaking into Stowe Corner here? This is unbelievable stuff. Round the outside, that was the Wellington Straight. So up on the inside, a little bit of contact. Dove keeps it in. Dove's going to get that position, but I don't think going to be able to hold that whatsoever. That was had to be done. Anybody that is in sim racing whatsoever is absolutely 100% going to try and make that move. So Sarah Dove gets 4th position, and it's going to be Anna Foster in 5th, Denise Pope in 6th, Penelope Dobbins in 7th. Wow. Josie Austin going to finish in 8th position, Beata Bachenska in 9th, Skylar Vixen in 10th, and my God, Ash, I need to go and lie down after that race.
We have some incidents, some time penalties, and then we'll have some post-race penalties, which we'll announce in a moment once our race control gets through that. But currently, we have a 10-second time penalty for car 939, which is Aris Aphelion. They get a penalty for causing a collision, and car 997, Biana Pochenska, 10 seconds for also causing a collision with car 660, Skylar Vixen. So we'll see those penalties play out as well. And here's a replay. Oh, no replay. Oh, we just sorry. Ooh, I was reading the incidents point. Sorry, everyone. But David, what do you think of race 1, and how do you think that's going to affect race 2? Essentially, to our points that we made earlier.
Honestly, I'm sitting here and my head is absolutely buzzing from that first race, shouting so much. What on earth? That was awesome.
What if we just whispered now?
I know, but it's not even noise, it's just all the intensity of the action. That is it for me, right? What makes me so proud, I've been involved with a couple of seasons of this championship, right? And the vision has always been clear. It's been to show that, you know, female drivers have got a place, and they belong on the circuit here, and to provide them their own space to do things here. I mean, that is up there with some of the best sim racing that you will see. That was incredible, the fights that went on there. And what makes me more excited here, Ash, is the fact that, oh my God, how much bad blood is going to transfer over to race 2. I know there's a lot of respect, and I know there's a lot of love, and you know, everybody looking out for each other, but you know, we all get frustrated, we all feel hard done by from time to time, and
David, you just want to see blood on the grid. Look at you. You're
look,
like,
I am me. I make no apologies for it. I just want to see a big gladiatorial battle here at Silverstone.
We're at the Coliseum of Silverstone for David here. He wants to see some outright 1v1s happening on the grid. I'm over here saying, I hope everyone has a good time. I'm the complete opposite. Call me a track mom. I'm just happy everyone's here. I'm happy everyone's watching. Thank you for joining us. And I'm just happy we're seeing some incredible racing.
No, like, that
talented.
That was just amazing, Ash. It really, really was. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a little boring. No, I'm completely kidding. I think exactly to the YouTube chat's point, race 2 is going to be a bit beastly, probably a lot more beastly than we saw in race 1. Now they know where they can make those dives, what chances they can take, exactly where they can put pressure on certain parts of the track and have those little incidents that won't cause penalties, you know? Not that I'm encouraging that, not that I'm David, but we can see some pressure now definitely being put on to the grid. So I'm excited for race 2.
It's almost like, Ash, we've worked together before here. You know exactly what I'm up to here. It's quite nice, actually. I quite like this. But wow, what a fantastic first race that was. So short turnaround for our next race. Obviously, the drivers will be chilling out and having a little rest on things, and you know, getting themselves off to things as well for setting themselves on the next one. From your point of view, and again, I've got my own views on this, but in between races, what do you think the drivers are talking? What do you think they're telling themselves? What do you think they're saying to themselves mentally to prepare them for race 2?
Probably. I mean, I don't know about you, but after I sim race, I'm a little sweaty. So first of all, probably taking a cool down of myself, taking some laps around the room that I'm in where my sim rig is, and then kind of just thinking of every mistake that I made, but seeing where I can improve now. It's kind of like a test. There's no way you're going to cram everything in the last 30 seconds, but if you can see any minor improvements or tricks that you realize that you could have done just a little bit better, maybe just brake a little bit earlier or brake a little bit later, get on the throttle earlier or later, things like that. You're not going to fix your entire lap and gain seconds, but you can get those tenths up and climb your way above the grid when there's any incidents that you can jump on or anything that you've noticed from previously. So just going over that and then kind of just mentally cooling down and then just getting ready for the next race. Race 1 is done. So think about those things and then move on to race 2 and get locked in.
Now, you see, that is the perfect answer. That's the positive, the positivity mindset attitude to it. And that's maybe another reason why my sim rig is packed up, because no word of a lie, I really struggled with this, and some of the people maybe at home will relate to this as well. And if I had an incident, I would get so salty. I would get I was already halfway filling out the protest form. Everything was, and again, this was something I had to learn, was I always felt like everything was somebody else's fault, and then I never looked to what I could have done differently in the incident to prevent that kind of happening. And that's such a big thing as well. A lot of these drivers as well, they'll be looking through it and then going, yeah, I'm probably not going to put myself in that position, because at the end of the day, it's a 30-minute race and it's a race of attrition as well. You've got to be in the position in that final 5 minutes. And fair enough, when we watched that final battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, they're in the position to do it. Positive Perception giving us an update from the Positive Perception pits. Lisa has taken her jumper off. So Ash
gets
going
hot,
hand
I'm
in...
telling you. It gets a little, I don't know what it is. I can be sitting in the coldest room in the world and I'll start sim racing, and then suddenly I'm sweating bullets, and that's why I need sim racing gloves, because I can't grip the wheel.
Have you ever had a shot of a VR headset when you're doing sim racing?
I've done it once, and then my
you think it's bad like that? Oh my god,
yeah.
you're a monster, a sweaty, horrible, greasy monster.
No, I'm a filthy casual.
After you come out the sim rig and you're just like, oh my god, I feel so unclean right now.
Oh yeah, definitely a little bit. Definitely need to rehydrate after a race, that's for sure.
Although, to be fair, I'm sure I saw a comment on YouTube joking about sweaty tryhards. I'm positive that was Antelope being a bit facetious. That's the sort of comment I would make out of absolute jealousy when folk are, although to be fair, that's probably about 90% of the grids that are a little bit faster. Right, oh my god, Ash, post-race penalties. Wow, let's go through all of these. Right, 939 and 604 on lap 13. So the 939 is Erisifilion, who unfortunately it feels like has been involved in every single incident that's ever happened in this season so far. Involved with an incident with Sarah Stant. That is a warning to car 604. And to clarify, it feels like Eris has been, they've been smacked about by every other car on the grid here tonight. Incident between cars 11 and 604. That is Charlotte Robertson and 604 of Sarah Stant. That is a time penalty at car 11, Charlotte Robertson, for causing a collision. And then the 13 and 939, it's a time penalty for car 13, and that is Catherine Rosie for causing a collision with, yep, you guessed it, Erisifilion. So I'm sending a virtual bunch of flowers to Eris, and hopefully they appreciate that, because nobody deserves to be treated like that on track, and that's a very unfortunate place to be.
Yeah, especially once you just get one incident, and then all of a sudden it just keeps piling on. It's just like, what did I do? Did I break a mirror today? Did I walk under a ladder? Did a cat cross my path? Some incidents out of your control, which is why sometimes sim racing takes such a hard hit to us mentally and emotionally, because you can do everything perfectly, and then someone up front, something happens, and then you just get caught up in it. So definitely rough when it's just one right after the other. Like I said, sending virtual flowers.
Yeah, well, there we go. So that is the race 1 post-race penalties. It'll be interesting to see how they affect the outcome of the first race. Again, a lot of those cars that were involved in those post-race penalties are cars that were towards the outside the top 15, I think, from this race as well. But as we said, just a couple of minutes away from the next race getting underway. We are waiting for the server to jump over and get on track. But again, Silverstone is not normally a track that you would associate with very, very tightly bunched packs of racing, and yet I was pretty much made to eat my words on that final 5 minutes from that little fight. That fight with Sarah Dove, Sarah Dove, Anna Foster, Denise Pope, and Penelope Dobbins. Let's talk about that last lap move from Sarah Dove there, because I feel Sarah was entitled to go for it, but I feel like it was always going to end in contact between the two of them.
Yeah, I think it was going to end in contact. And then again, it's thinking about that racecraft. Do you go for the move knowing it's the last lap and you seize that opportunity? And if it works out, again, it works out. That's the whole point of making these big moves, right? If it pays off huge. But if it doesn't, luckily it wasn't too bad to either, and they were able to keep relatively close to their positions. However, unfortunate there for it not working out, And here we are, race 2, David.
Certainly. So let's take you through the grid then. Row 1 is going to be Honora Rose on pole position alongside Alexa Gates. Row 2 is going to be Victoria Thompson alongside Sarah Dove. Row 3 is going to be Anna Foster alongside Denise Pope. Then it's Penelope Dobbins alongside Josie Austin. 9th position is Skylar Vixen. 10th position, Beata Bachenska. Then on row 6 is Lisa Louise alongside Ruby Acosta. Row 7 is going to be Maya Laferia alongside Maren Edwards. Row 8 is going to be Natalie Lee alongside Emmy Flooding. Row 9 is going to be Sarah Stant alongside Charlotte Robertson. Erisa Filion is going to be in 19th position with Catherine Rosie in 20th. 21st is going to be Callie Bygent, and then Olivia Hayward in 22nd position.
We're just restarting the grid here.
22 cars. We'll have a brief technical pause while some issues behind the scenes are sorted out. Usually that happens, Ash, when I get halfway through the grid and they realise I've said somebody out of order and they have to rejig, or they've set something that needs to be done here. But a brief pause for a couple of minutes, which again, it's a two-headed thing, isn't it? Because for the drivers, it gives them an extra bit of respite, but it's a little bit more tension, especially as they were lining up on that grid there.
And then hopefully no plans in being impeded by the sim race. So you never know how long sim races are going to take or anything that's going to happen during these events. So make sure you have adequate time for forwards and backwards, but hopefully they get a little bit more time to hydrate, grab anything they need to use the restroom, kind of shake off those nerves, like you said, and lock in for race 2, knowing how spicy race 1 was.
Well, that is exactly what we are about to see. Cars heading round on track, so I'm presuming that the order was slightly out, which would make sense with those post-race penalties. Very, very easy to miss the implications of that and get that sorted out. So the cars will head out and get themselves all sorted out, so we'll wait to see how that is all going to transpire.
And then David, something we mentioned earlier, sure. I just want you to take a look at the Discord of More Female Teams wow, I am trying to say 60 things at once and I end up tripping over my words. Welcome to my brain, everybody. More female racers in the Discord channel. We have everyone saying sorry about the incident. Car was undrivable. Apologize. Hope I didn't ruin your race too much. So maybe we just like bullying you, David, in your DMs, and that should be the new thing that we do. We're having a great time.
I'm absolutely okay with it. It's absolutely fine, But it is. It's nice to see that, and this goes into what I was saying about earlier on about how it feels like they look after each other in that little group. They celebrate each other's achievements and victories and stuff like that, and they'll be thankful to somebody that they were fighting for the majority of the race with. And again, the one bit that I did love about sim racing is that I joke an awful lot about being slow and rubbish and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what skill level you've got, because when you're fighting with 2 or 3 other cars that are your pace, your level, you feel like an absolute superstar if you're able to win that little battle. It's all about these little fights that are relative to you, isn't it?
Absolutely. And we have a last penalty for post-race penalty for round 2, race 1. Incident between cars 72, Olivia Hayward, and car 11, Charlotte Robertson. It's 15-second time penalty for Charlotte for failure to hold brakes.
Ooh, that's never a popular one from me. Right, let's go through the grid again then. Pole position for Honor Rose, lining up alongside Alexa Gates. On row 2 is going to be Victoria Thompson, and then alongside is Sarah Dove. Anna Foster in 5th, Denise Pope in 6th, 7th place for Josie Austin, with Skylar Vixen in 8th position. Beata Bachenska in 9th, with Ruby Acosta in 10th, Penelope Dobbins in 11th position, Lisa Louise in 12th, Maya LaFerla in 13th, with Martin Edwards in 14th, then it's Natalie Lee in 15th, and then 16th is Emmy Flooding, and then 17th is Sarah Stant, 18th is Charlotte Robertson, Eris Ophelion in 19th, 20th place for Catherine Rosie, 21st for Callie Bajan, and then Olivia Hayward back of the grid in 22nd position. We got through them all in rapid fashion. It gives us a little bit of time to have a look at these beautiful, beautiful liveries on these cars here.
What is one of your favorite liveries? Do you have a favorite color that you prefer? Do you have a favorite style? What are you looking for in a good livery, David?
It's a difficult one. I like for me it's the patterns, the vector patterns and the smooth swooshes that you see going across all of the car. I love that. I'm not too much a fan of like having the whole car in one colour, but it's difficult, and not just because I'm taking the easy way out, which I absolutely am right now, but it's also, because you look at them and you appreciate them in different ways, if that makes sense. So you look at them and you're like, oh, I like that on that, and yeah, they're just absolutely fantastic. Positive Perception have got some fantastic liveries. As I said, Wild Things Racing, really fond of the work that Denise Pope does out there as well, and yeah, there's awesome, and there you go. Positive Perception offering custom livery for any of the drivers that don't have them, free of charge. That, I think, says pretty much what you were saying about them all kind of being one strong group together. That's just lovely to see.
I love it. I love when they showcase the personalities. There's always incredible liveries that highlight really good, just colors and complementary colors and things like that. But the ones that showcase the personality, which is why I think people like bumper stickers so much, right? Because it shows a little bit of your personality on the car you got from a factory. But seeing these liveries designed throughout the sim racing community, seeing what they want to show others about themselves and what's important to them, is really what makes it really, really cool.
Just as I say it now, and I'm seeing it in the background there, one of my cars that I really enjoyed watching was Josie Austin and the Cupcake cars. They were all like really funny little plays on cupcakes and different cake type teams that they would have in their name, but they always had these beautiful, like really vibrant, energetic, pastel coloured cars. And as someone that's very old but actually still a very big kid at heart, I love that sort of stuff. I love that playful exuberance on it as well. It looks really, really nice. And then you go to the other end and you've got cars that wouldn't look amiss on an SRO grid in real life as well. Again, with Honor Rose, it's a different one for me because I'm not the biggest fan of like anime and stuff on racing cars, but I do think that's very subtle, and I think that does work on that car.
Absolutely, but we should get you into some anime, David. I think we can recommend you a few.
I've only watched a couple. I was obsessed with Cyberpunk, the Netflix. That was amazing, and I do love Studio Ghibli, that sort of stuff. That's where I'm at, but it kind of throws me in over my head when it's the mad, flashy colour, tentacles everywhere. Yeah, that's not for me, I'm afraid.
Everyone's taking notes. We got to have a stream where we teach David to pronounce names and watch anime, and I think they'll make some great content.
I'm absolutely up for that. Make that happen. That'll be an amazing weekend.
And then that a second start finish line threw me off because I was like, "Oh, we're getting ready. Never mind. We're gonna keep going the rest of the grid."
It's Spa all over again for me. See, with the anime and stuff like that, if it's flashing and it involves explosions and robots, then yeah, I'm totally there.
Yeah, Netflix has a few, but there's I think you can get a subscription to Crunchyroll, and you'll have the whole new world, David. I think you'll spend so much time suddenly. You'll just be busy, and we'll know why.
There we go. So we've gone from sim racing into talking about anime. I think
Welcome
that's,
to the stream, everyone.
I know it's another weekend that's gone down the rabbit hole. Last week was ChatGPT. This weekend is going to be anime. So yeah, fun times. Right. All that by the by, the chat is over because we're ready to go racing. And our Rose alongside Alexa Gates gets us ready for another 30 minutes of racing here on the Sim Grid. For more female racers, powered by Mercedes-AMG, round 2 here from Silverstone. David Christie and Ash Vandalay on comms with you for the remainder of the evening tonight, and this is going to be a banger. We said that about race 1. We couldn't even imagine what was going to come towards the end of race 1, but this is it. Alexa Gates knows she has to get the jump right now on Honor Rose. The cars side by side as they come along the start-finish straight. The green flag flies and we go racing again. It's side by side, and that's a great start from Alexa Gates, but again beaten to the punch by Honor Rose, and this time handsomely, not even anywhere near, and there's absolute chaos behind Natalie Lee, Sarah Stan, Eris Affiliate, all unfortunately caught up in that at Copse Corner. We didn't have long to wait there, Ash, and chaos already at turn 1.
Making that jump start, trying to get that position, like you said, for P1, P2, but it was honestly in the back where they were competing last time. Not surprising. Again, everyone is now all out for race 2. Gloves are off, metaphorically. You want to keep your sim racing gloves on for that intense sweatiness. Oh, right. Ooh, side by side here again.
Oh, this is nervous stuff. Victoria Thompson taking nothing for granted right now. Wants to get that. Eris Affiliate again in with Charlotte Robertson. And this is just picking up where race 2 left off here as Alexa Gates sent up into P2. Look at that melee behind though. That is Anna Foster, Skylar Vixen, Denise Pope and Sarah Dove all involved. And that Sarah Dove has been shuffled down a couple of cars there. So this is a huge fight right now going on. Look at what is transpiring in front. Anna Foster round the outside. What a move. And that is going to be for P4.
Denise Pope looks like she's being escorted with 2 cars in front and 2 cars in back. She is doing her best to defend and attack in the front here. This is so cool to see how she's pulling this off.
Skylar Vixen just up there into P5 already. I think that's going to shuffle down as Denise Pope makes a bit of a deep run there. In fact, that was Ruby Acosta going very, very deep into that corner there. So again, with just how things are transpiring over this first lap here, fastest lap for Honor Rose, but again, that is just a first lap there. That will be trotted out over time. Emmy Floating coming together with Khalid Bajet, 2 cars coming right into Abbey Corner. What's going to go around here? Well, thankfully, they almost all survived there. Beta Bachenska just behind, trying to get past Charlotte Robertson here, but slightly more aggressive and slightly more manic opening lap here, and I think we knew that was going to be likely to happen, Ash.
Oh, I love that we're getting this right from the start. Exactly what you wanted, David. Don't act surprised.
Me? No, I just want good racing. Good, clean racing is all I want. Who was that? That was Martin Edwards that was off in the background there, so losing out to Maya Feria and to Beta Bachenska here. So Bachenska fires up the inside. That's late onto the brakes, but that is brave for hot and spicy racing. Sent it up at Stowe Corner. Thank you very much. And absolutely nothing that could be done on that. Back with Ruby Acosta then ahead of Sarah Dove as Penelope Dobbins down into, or up rather, into P9 because started in 10th position here. And again, we're starting to see these little gaps opening up, but Denise Pope here was all over the back of Skylar Vixen, making a little mistake there, and now Ruby Acosta trying to take advantage.
And that's what you do. You see them battling out, and you just know the pressure, especially this early. Like I mentioned last time I said this, there was 30 seconds left, so maybe it wasn't going to pay off. But now with 26 minutes, could put on the pressure. Incidents can happen. Again, races of attrition, and then you just take advantage of those moments. Oh, now I'm yelling. Look what you did. Look what you've done, David.
Of course, it's all my fault, isn't it? It's not this amazing racing. Oh, and that is Denise Pope off into the background there. I believe that was Skylar Vixen that was caught up there. That could have been, and again, they both got back on, but the problem is putting 2 and 2 together, and unless we get a replay of that, or until we get a replay of that, I wonder if that was maybe just outbraking going into that left-hander there.
We have Nora Rose now with the 157.4 for lap 2, and now Alexa Gates 1.45 seconds behind. So Nora Rose maybe pulling it off again for race number 2.
Well, let's have a look. Checking back in with Victoria Thompson then NP3, half a second behind Alexa Gates. In fact, we've already got a replay, so huge thank you for getting us on to that. Now, what happened here with Skylar Vixen? Was it just a case of braking too early here? It was, and Denise Pope straight into the back of that car. That's a slam dunk penalty right there, completely accidental. I think Skylar, maybe just catching Denise out with braking that early there. But wow, that's for me as well. What was important was the fact that Denise went to the left and then went to the right. I think that unsettled the car a little bit and took off the braking ability of that car there. And that car is going to be very, very troubled for the rest of this race, because here comes Sarah Dove right now. And my goodness me, what a race we've had in the first 5 minutes. And race control are going to be a little bit like Oprah tonight. You get a penalty, you get a penalty, you get a penalty, you get a drive-through. It's going to be very, very brutal tonight.
We were talking about how technical this track was, and how sometimes how the slower side. Oh, I thought that something was going to happen. I was like, just let me stop talking. How we thought the slower corners might trip up some of the AM racers. However, it's just surviving laps at this point and defending your position or taking those chances safely to not ruin your race at this point.
Yeah, again, just watching it, I have no idea how this is going to pan out. Sarah Stanton Calibasian coming into instance there. 6:04 getting a 20-second time penalty. That is that's a smack across the hand of Sarah Stanton, as you said there. And that is going to be for, I'd imagine, for that instant at Cobb's Corner. Yeah,
with Natalie Lee. Wow, 20 seconds. I think it's the largest I've ever seen so far this season.
Yeah, that's that for sure is. You're not going to want to do that too many times in a race.
Well, 5 more times then. Just simple math right there. We're following with Denise Pope, the Wild Things livery, as you said. One of the favorites that stands out. Like you mentioned before, we have a Nora Rose, and then we have a little bit of a gap, but then we have all the way down to the top 10. Pretty close in contention here. Are we going to see some last-minute moves, or are they going to do those moves right away and try to try for their lives and not be involved in any of the passes after that? On with Penelope Dobbins, losing that position out, and can they? Got me on the inside here. Sarah Dove and Penelope. Oh, that was clean.
Oh, that was difficult to stomach. That was. I feel so bad for Penelope. It went for the move on Skylar Vixen, didn't happen. Let out, put on the brakes, and has been absolutely mugged and is under real pressure now from not only Lisa Louise and Denise Pope. This is the if Penelope does get caught up in this is going to be horrible, because that's going to drop her outside the top 10. And if anything, that was just by being respectful and just putting on the brakes a little bit earlier to make sure they could all get through. But again, it brings up one of my favourite topics on this, is momentum. It's so important at a track like this, where if you are going to try and make a move here, Ash, you better be damn sure that you're going to be able to successfully make that move, because if you lose time to that, you're going to have 4, 5, 6 other cars that are baying for blood behind you.
And I think, like you said, you just kind of learn the racecraft here. If you're not familiar with how the drivers are, or what's going on, or how to handle Silverstone in the passing, you make a slight mistake like that, you're like, all right, not going to do it again for the next 21 minutes. I've learned that very quickly, to not let that happen ever again. So kind of real-time feedback that we all get on the racetrack.
Just watching. Oh, sorry, on you go, Ash.
This is where I kind of interesting, where you kind of want a spotter almost with you, right? This is the kind of feedback you get from your team when you're racing IRL. You're like, what can I do better? What's everyone else up to? Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and they serve such an important part in that as well. It's not just because obviously in sims you can have, like in iRacing, you can have virtual spotters that give you your lap time and tell you, you know, how you're performing and stuff like that. But it's almost like having a coach in the car with you over the intercom. You know, not just telling you about where you are, but telling you about positions where you're, or points in the track where you need to maybe focus more, sectors where you could improve on, things like that. Give you all of the really important information that you kind of need through the race. But for the majority of it, a lot of these drivers maybe, and I'm going to say maybe here, driving by themselves, but it's not unknown that a lot of them will drive in teams and they'll be on the radio with them, perhaps even having some spotters actually watching the session. You're kidding me. No way has Denise Pope ran that round the outside. That is inspired. For me, that is one of the moves of the night right there. Denise Pope, no fear whatsoever, coming down the Wellington straight there, sticks that move in, and to be fair to Penelope Dobbins, keeps that in, but Denise is going to have the inside line. Ash, that was absolutely stunning.
And Denise with her skill, and I think she kind of figured out Penelope a little bit, realizing that she'll be very kind of a little bit more kind in her position here, realizing what it is. So Denise, I think, had a plan in her head and went for it, and it definitely paid off here. Ooh, incident here with Maya and Josie Austin getting back on the track. Oh, but that hood, that arrow, limping back into the pits.
Oh no, that cupcake has been crumbled. That's oh, I hate to see it, especially because I was saying it's one of my favourite kind of liveries on there just now. Denise Pope, that's an interesting racing line. Coming out of Stowe Corner there. Well, sorry, through Maggots and Beckett's rather.
If it works,
it's absolutely fine. It's that Skylar Vixen actually that's under attack here as well. So we've now got another 5-car battle. This is the incident then with Josie Austin and trying to send it through the inside there. You've got a car on the right. Oh my God, that's a bit rude. That's just, you know, no niceties there. Just like go away. Shoulder, but you know, I used to play American football. That is a proper shoulder tackle. What have we got going on here, Ash? We've got a 5-car battle for 7th place.
Oh, this is the stuff we love to see. Oh, on the grass there, but totally within, I believe, the confines of the track limits. Oh, side by side as Jonathan tries to do it. Wow,
great move there. Yeah, that was awesome from Beta Bachenska, getting the move done on Lisa Louise, sent it up the inside. Lisa then a little bit rattled by that and loses out on that position there. But it's back with Skylar Vixen and Denise Pope because those two are fighting out tooth and nail right now. We've almost got 3 wide coming down Wellington straight. They've sorted themselves out. Penelope Dobbins still involved with that one as well. And I don't know how that one is going to pan out. But again, we know Denise is a very, very fast driver. Maybe feeling like potentially wanting to be a little bit further up the road and trying to catch up with the likes of Sarah Duff. Oh my good Lord. That's a lot of updates from Race Control. Right, let's go through them then. Cars number 66 and 22. That is calibration, as I'll come back to that in a second. Denise Pope makes it look absolutely easy coming into Maggots and Beckett's. Job done. So the 66 and 22 then, calibration and Emma Flooding. It's a racing incident. 660 and 79, Denise Pope. That is Skylar Vixen. That is a 10-second penalty for Denise Pope. We thought that was going to happen there. As you can see, Dobbins gets a run on Skylar Vixen as well. This is going to be to Stowe Corner though. It's a right-hander, so Skylar's going to have the inside line there. And then 66 and 604, a little bit of contact there from Skylar Vixen there. 66 and 604, that is calibration, and 604 of Sarah Stan. It's a 10-second penalty at 66 for causing a collision. And I keep getting distracted because all hell is kicking off here.
Thank you, Race Control. Sorry, Race Control. I know there's so much going on.
And the thing is that you get the entire impression that the whole of the MFR Discord channel is literally going to be typing that out. Sorry, race control, at the end of this one. However, this is interesting, isn't it? That battle between Alexa Gates, and we're having to jump between the two because there's so many big battles going on. There we go. That's what we want. Picture in picture. Huge thank you to Mike Yao for absolutely spoiling us tonight with all of this action going on here. But again, you've got that battle up top left there, right? That's for second and third place. So again, for different steps on the podium. But then you've got this fight here between Denise Pope, Skylar Vixen, and Penelope Dobbins. You've also got Beta Bachenska involved in that now as well. I mean, this is just epic stuff here.
I just want to remind folks in the chat, you can choose which track we race at next in round 3. I voted for Alton Park. I'm a little biased. So I enjoy that track immensely. David, did you vote?
I did. I voted it as well. It's one of the few tracks that I've raced in real life as well. It's scary. it's very, even when you're in like a little 80 brake horsepower Peugeot 107, it is like, because they on the GT weekends they don't have the tyre barrier up at that chicane, but yeah, they do for all the other club racing events. It's a beautiful track, and great stuff. Great to see actually someone who has extensive experience of Oulton Park is Angus Fender. Was something that we actually saw in real life at Oulton Park last year when he was racing in British GT. So yeah, he's got extensive knowledge of that circuit, and great to see watching along as well.
If you're enjoying this racing, it's incredible.
How can anybody not to watch? That's the question.
No, they're so close together. We have the incident between cars 137 and 5. Oh, no further action from race control. That's probably the easiest message they've typed all day. But we have a few more potentially coming up from the first couple of laps that we've seen. We're only 7 laps in with exactly 14 minutes left. Adam Bent, that is, you are correct, from the YouTube chat. Welcome on in. Oh, side by side here. Come on, Penelope, getting the inside. Skylar Vixen, they've been going at it. Again, leaving enough space.
No way, come on. That is amazing. What a move. That's like you said, Ash, that started about 5 corners ago. And to be fair, I mean, Skylar Vixen's still trying to do it, but that's done. That is 100% done there. There's no move up the inside there. A little bit of contact there. Skylar Vixen trying to force the issue there, but Penelope Dobbins has it every day of the week. What a move. But you also see Denise Pope now, because Denise has been cleared off that group, firing down now and trying to catch up to that.
Denise, run for your life.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't want any part of that. PTSD after being involved in the group.
Absolutely.
Now here's an interesting point actually, Ash. What were we last time in race 1 with the no rows at this point, halfway through the race? I think the gap was what, like about 8 seconds, 9 seconds? Because of the traffic, and no rows is only 4.5 seconds up the road.
I believe she's gonna get up there. You know, I don't think anything's gonna stop her this time. And for race number 2, absolutely not. Ah, there we go. We have the live timing updating here now. Yeah, there's going to be a sizable gap here with Nora Rose. I wonder how she's... I want to ask her so many questions. I hope we get her into the commentary booth. But Victoria Thompson on Alexa Gates. And again, the traffic management you have to do as well. It's a very good point. Forget about defending enough in your offense here and attacking, but managing traffic from the slower cars as well. I have a strong opinion on flashing headlights that I haven't seen here yet so far, but we can talk about that.
Let's not, because it's a massive bugbear of mine. I really hate it. There's no need for it.
That's what happens. Okay, good. We agree. No, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it really annoys me. Oh, now Victoria Thompson having a little look up the inside, side by side, but again pulls back out of it. A bit to Bachenska gets absolutely hammered there. I get the feeling that was Skylar Vixen reversing off the track and slightly over exuberant on the rejoin. Maybe didn't need to go that far back for them. Oh no.
Bochenska.
Let's
The grass.
please,
is
can
not
we
doing
cut
anyone
away
any
for
favors.
the dignity and love and respect? Just let's just, it's fine. Let's let Beta get back onto the track there. The whole flashing headlights thing, I just really annoys me. I think it needs to be, for me, and again, this is just me soapboxing because I'm a grumpy old man. Anybody doing it like where it's not on a like lap traffic or anything, 10-second penalty. Just get them out of there. There's no need for it. If you can't get past someone without trying to distract them and wave your car about, do whatever. Just it's so pointless. It's really irritating.
Field, man, you're not a day over 25. Get out of here.
I rant like a proper 60-year-old. That's yeah. I had no idea actually that Alexa Gates is. Yeah, that's awesome to see. Angus saying though that Dave Brabham be proud there that Alexa's doing so well. So Victoria Thompson. This actually brings up a really interesting point here, Ash. We saw this all through race 2, right? Alexa Gates is under pressure by Victoria Thompson, but can Victoria actually send it round? Because it seems like, that whole thing about being respectful, about being, trying to make the move when it's fair, is that enough? Do you sometimes need to just chance having a little nudge to try and get that done? Or are you constantly going to be on the back foot?
For race 2, I think we were talking earlier, I think if you see the chance, you take it regardless of what you think the outcomes might be. The risk-reward assessment for race 2 is a lot different with race 1.
So we just send it then, as Lisa Louise sends it, and that's a car off at the inside, and 2 cars off. That is going to be Skylar Vixen, and I believe that might have even been, was that Maya LaFerla that went off in sympathy, and that is coming after the, it was Maya LaFerla coming off the Wellington straight there. My goodness me, that was a bit of a wild moment. 10 minutes left to go. Where's the 20 minutes gone? I've got no idea, but 10 minutes left. Victoria Thompson now. This is all about how we make this happen, how you can get that car up into second place. And if I'm honest, I just don't see the aggression there to take that car into second place. I think Alexa has got that car's number.
Here we go. You can see that replay of exactly what just happened with Skylar Vixen. What happened?
Oh, okay. So contact there from that positive perception car, and then, like I say, that car just went off in sympathy, just like, yeah.
I like how you say that, sympathy off track. I think just reacting, realizing that Skylar was flying across her screen, she probably just overcorrected and just tried to fix it real quick.
That doesn't sound anywhere near as dramatic or as exciting, You've got to make it flow.
David just wants to see death and destruction. Chat, we deeply apologize.
It's all those years playing Destruction Derby on the PlayStation as a kid. It's tainted by my experience of racing on the computer. But joking aside, this is now evened out. It's kind of simmered over nicely now, and I think for the most part there's a lot of big gaps opening up. So I'm trying to find out where the battles are going to happen. We're seeing here Anna Foster with Ruby Acosta. Ruby has just done a sterling job right now of trying to make this happen. Surely not going to happen through Maggots and Beckett's. Of course it's going to happen through Maggots and Beckett's. Victoria Thompson now with Alexa Gates. Do you remember about 8 seconds ago when I said there was gaps and we were going to struggle to see where all the fighting was for? I completely take that back now, side by side in Stowe. And this is what I'm saying with Victoria, is that the moves are there, the desire to get second place is there, but I think Alexa just has the number of Victoria right now.
Wow. That's, I mean... Ooh.
That was a big hit of the curb on the outside there. Right, okay, so, 7 minutes left to go. That's back to the drawing board with that one.
Commentary curse here, David. What are you doing to these poor drivers?
Oh, dearie me. Right, well, Adam Bent literally just put into chat before that would have come up on the YouTube stream, Alexa's on a mission to not finish third, and it's not quite in the way that you think, Adam. Not like this. It's yeah, we have to see how that is going to go on. But Penelope Dobbins, again, very, very impressive debut for the AM driver. I don't think in any world that driver is going to stay. In fact, I think we've just had it confirmed that they are getting moved up to pro. And this is the great thing about the championship as well, Ash, is the fact that drivers are continuously assessed here throughout the season. And, you know, some of them like it, some of them don't like it, but that's just what they have to deal with. They know that's how, you know, it's going to be judged here. But it's all in the attempts at fairness and Eris Aphelion. That car looks to have had a horrible, horrible night tonight.
I feel like race 2, spicy start, and I feel what we're doing now kind of, I think they're waiting for their moments again. I think exactly like the last laps we were seeing, incidents we've seen Josie Austin and Callie Badgen. Hopefully I have a replay, but I think they're waiting for those final moments again so they can just jump on the car in front of them and hopefully keep that position towards the end, because every position matters. We have some traffic moving out of the way, and of course something you have to manage. That's just part of racing. And of course you can run the most perfect clean qualifying laps on the most perfect line, but you don't always get the perfect line during a race.
Yeah, it makes it an interesting, you know, dilemma that you've got, because you can have a lot of race pace, but if you don't have that awareness, that sense of where you're going with things, it makes it very, very difficult. Especially, as you said, you've got to become so aware towards the end with back markers and lap traffic and things. Penelope Dobbins is fairly giving Denise Popa a run for her money right now. This is a brilliant little battle here that we've got going on. I think it's going to be short-lived though, because obviously Denise having that penalty earlier on. But this is the thing, is with time penalties, when they get applied to the end of the race, they can make a huge difference to some of these results. For instance, let's say Alexa Gates was to have a 10-second penalty, and obviously, touch wood, there's absolutely no reason for that to happen. But that would, you know, that I'm pretty sure that would knock her down to fourth position. So it's wild how much things can change in the blink of an eye. But 4 minutes left to go here in the second race of the evening here for More Female Racers Season 6, powered by Mercedes-AMG, as we are here at Silverstone. More penalties coming in. Incident between cars 997 and 660 on lap 9. That's a racing incident. Between 660 and the 56, it's a 10-second time penalty for the 56 of Lisa Louise for that incident with the 660 of Skylar Vixen, and that is the one that we saw about 10 minutes ago on the replay here. But again, I have to concur with you, Ash. I think it's looking very, very good. I'll put it, that's as much as I'm going to commit to at this point for Nora Rhodes. Alexa Gates and Victoria Thompson, I think that fight has still got something to give us potentially, but that gap's up to a whole second. And I think the other one is potentially going to be Ruby Acosta, that we're watching right now onto the back of Anna Foster.
And here I thought race control was getting bored. They were awfully too quiet.
Yeah, I think they're just getting started, to be fair. I think they're overwhelmed. I mean, that's lap 9 and 10, and we're on lap 13 now, so we'll wait and see. Here comes Ruby Acosta, though, onto the back of Anna Foster. It's now or never. There we go. Through Abby, through Farm, then into the right-hander, takes the wider line here. And again, it's just going to have to be a little bit of mind games right now, because we've got, what, probably 2 laps left to go in this race here. And if anything, that's cost Ruby a little bit of time there.
But a great attempt. I mean, that's what you have to do. Last race, and of course, round 3, you have it in 2 weeks. If you're going to pull a move and make the best of it with almost 2 minutes left of the race, you got to do it now.
You certainly do. So again, we asked this in race 1, Ash, what have you made of race 2?
I don't even want to say anything because I feel like we need to wait for the next minute and 54 seconds before I say my opinion, because it's going to be the commentator's curse and chat's never going to forgive me. Then my DMs are going to be flooded instead of David's, and I want David's to be flooded instead of mine. So let's watch Ruby Acosta here, attempting again to pass Anna Foster. Ooh, Sarah Dove right in the background, waiting to jump on the chance of anything.
Oh, good spot, Ash. Damn, Sarah Dove has absolutely ploughed through with that time just now. And we are going to have what looks like, what's that, 1 lap left to go here? I'm just checking where we are just now. No, we're going to have 2 laps because Honor Rose just coming through the Hamilton Straight just now. So we're going to have another lap to go, I would imagine, after this. But yeah, so Sarah Dove now in the pound seats because this little fight between Anna Foster and Ruby Acosta is bubbling over very, very nicely indeed. And there's some lap traffic that's going to potentially come into play very, very shortly here. Ooh, I do not want to even think about how this one is going to pan out.
I think we're seeing some incredible racing. Again, it's not just about the podium fights, which we're used to in certain other series or motorsports. Here, it's about every single position and seeing what these drivers can do with the pressure from behind, from the other drivers, and then attacking from the front. It is incredible to see how they manage the traffic, how they manage the race strategy, what they're doing to defend, what they're doing to attack, all at the same time. So talking about that mental exhaustion and what these drivers go through in, quote-unquote, a shorter race. Of what they've been doing, but
wow, this is getting really, really interesting then, because we're coming up to the end of our allotted 30 minutes here for race number 2, and this is what it's all about then. We're on the final lap here, because here comes Victoria Thompson onto the back of Alexa Gates. The turbos have been charged up, the button is ready to push, but the question is it going to be pushed by Victoria Thompson? That's what we need to find out. That fight's still going on with Anna Foster, Ruby Acosta and Sarah Dove as well. We'll keep an eye on that, but that is your race leader, Honor Rose, coming down to the second half of the circuit here. Right, let's see what is going to happen between Alexa and Victoria, because again, Victoria does close up massively, but just doesn't seem to be able to do anything with it. That is the big issue with that. Meanwhile, that battle for 4th, 5th and 6th, I get the impression that one is honestly going to spill over into fireworks.
Well, you mentioned with the gap being, I think, plus 1 second at some point, that you weren't sure that if we were going to see a battle, but here, last lap, right? Last chance. Can Victoria pull it off on Alexa Gates here? Back to Sarah Dove
cutting back
and Ruby
to that 4th, 5th and 6th. And Ash, just talking on the battle here, we've got a lap traffic in the way here.
Just holding on to my desk.
With your experiences, oh my God, that's up at the inside. That was always going to end messy. Oh, what do you say to that? That's Anna Foster. That's absolute heartbreak. Absolute heartbreak. But I know Rose comes across the line. I was just about to ask, and I'm so sorry for jumping all over you there, with Alexa Gates coming in second place. As there we go, that is going to be Alexa Gates getting bump drafted over the line. In that last, I know how I deal with it, but how do you deal with all that stress as we see up the inside the 734 of Anna Foster there? How do you deal with all that pressure and all that stress under, say, like the last 2 laps of a race?
I don't deal with it. I let it consume me to where I go to therapy once a week. I can't. It's stressful. It is what it is. I can't handle it. I'm terrible. Was that before the finish line?
Hang on. That little icon on the left-hand side, has she ran out of fuel? She's into the pits.
No.
Oh, so she's escaped back to the...
I think she was able to do it over the finish line.
Let's have a look. Yeah, she has taken the checker because she's on the same lap. My God, that was an absolute panic there from Foster there. Done 16 laps though, so can confirm that has gone across the line there. Alexa Gates going into... Wow, talk about a heart-stopping moment there. That's because we're so used to them, the drivers all just kind of taking a wee victory parade lap. And My goodness me, they absolutely deserve it. Escher, Wells, thank you so much for the commentary. All of the praise has to go on to Ash tonight for managing to keep me on topic and vaguely on stream tonight. But Ash, that was amazing tonight, wasn't it?
That was cool. And we got to shout out the broadcast team, of course. Race Control. Guys, thank you so much for making sure we got those replays on check, because we had so much action across both of these races. I was going to say race 1, I think, was actually a little bit spicier than race 2. I feel race 2 was a little bit more strategic, and race 1 was full out trying to figure out those full sends, of course. Similarly, the story kind of told itself from the beginning. We had everyone settling into their positions, and then of course the last couple of minutes we had those battles and everyone playing it out. So David, what do you think? How did it go?
Spoiled, absolutely spoiled tonight. Cracking value for money. It was just such a great round of the championship. I kind of know what to expect from the drivers here at More Female Racers. As we say, there's always new drivers coming in and there's other drivers going out, but there's at the core there's still usually the same drivers. Last year it was very prim and proper. It was very neutral. It was very balanced. This season, oh my god, this looks like an absolute classic. So much aggression, so much power, so much brilliant racing. That has to be absolutely stressed. So much brilliant racing and racecraft from all of these drivers tonight. Yeah, this is a brilliant season, and you two are going to be in such a brilliant position for calling this season.
This is going to be awesome. And don't forget to vote in the chat, of course, to what David just said. Vote for what you want to see in round 3. But up next, now we have interviews with some of the drivers. We have car number 35, Alexa Gates. Let's see if I can drag her in here. Oh, I could. Alexa, hello.
Hello.
How are you feeling the past 2 races, defending the entire time? Tell us what's going through your head right now. Is the heart beating fast? What's the heart rate going through right now?
Yeah, it can get pretty intense when all you have to think about is the car behind you and trying to keep behind you. But it seems as though that it's probably one of the stronger things that I've been at for years now. Just keeping, like, if I can sort of get into a mindset where if I want to keep a person behind me, they are staying behind me, because like I know how. Like I can keep an eye on where they're gaining time relative to me, where I'm gaining time relative to them, and seeing what lines I can do, what lanes they can't do. It's a very tactical way of going about it.
So, have you been practicing Silverstone? Have you raced it a lot? You seem to know the track. I mean, you seem to handle the technicalities of this track extremely well. Is this one of your favorites? Tell us more about your experience with Silverstone.
If I'm honest, it's far from one of my favourites. I really struggle in the tight and twisty stuff. I don't know why. It might be driving style, the setup of the car itself. I don't know. But I only started doing practice for it yesterday. Because it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things that you just keep on putting it off, thinking, oh yeah, I could do that a bit later, and then suddenly you're 1 day away from the race, and it's like, oh, I haven't done it in practice yet. But I think if today's race was anything to go by, I need to do a little bit more, especially with 1.9 arriving a bit later on this week.
And then for round 3, which track would you prefer you race in 2 weeks?
Well, Alton and Imola. Alton in its own right is a great circuit, but GT3s are just that little bit too big for them, so it can be incredibly difficult to not only follow a car but also try and overtake them. I think I'd prefer Imola, if I'm honest. I think it's not like, sure, there are a bunch of chicanes with a lot of sausage curbs all over the place, but I think it's probably the easier one to go around rather than Alton. Alton's very tight, twisty and bumpy. You never know. Like, it's really difficult to be consistent there.
Absolutely. Well, congrats. That was an incredible job. Like I said with David, we've been taking incredible notes, lots of notes of how you guys are taking and dominating Silverstone. So make sure you vote for that track in the YouTube chat to make sure you get to race it. But thank you so much for your time and congratulations again. And I'm excited to see what you can do in round 3.
Thank you. See you guys later.
See you later. Congrats again. Up next, I'm going to drag in here, we have Ruby Acosta. Ruby, hello.
Hello.
How were the 2 races for you? I know there were a lot of incidents going and flying around. What are you feeling right now?
First race, I was so angry at myself. The car was undrivable. I think something happened with the car between qualifying and the race 1. Race 2, I really had to push. I was so angry at myself. I had to push. I had to keep going.
Right.
And unfortunately for Anna, I believe she got taken out by a lap car, and coming into the arena, I had to really push. I was in the grass, and I didn't know if I was gonna get stopped, and I had Sarah chasing me, Sarah Dove, and oh my gosh, that was such. I'm really relieved about that result.
I can't imagine. I mean, we were talking about this on stream, of course, like the physicality of sim racing and such, but just the mental load on you guys while you're driving. What is that like, thinking of every single corner, but defending and attacking? What's going through your head while you're racing?
Well, as somebody who is diagnosed ADHD, it's really hard for me to sort of withstand it. Because at the time, sometimes it feels really overwhelming, really overstimulating, and like it's easy to let my emotions take. It's way too easy for my emotions to sort of take front seat. But I feel like I just have to sort of talk myself through everything. I have to sort of just have people tell me I have my team behind me, encouraging me when things go wrong, and I think it's just a lot of effort and a lot of just willpower, really. Not the IndyCar driver, willpower.
Great reference. Amazing race weekend for them. But for round 3, where are you looking to go from the 2 tracks we have?
If it was possible, Suzuka, but I like Imola, so that's good.
Oh, well, make sure you put in your votes so you get to race that in round 3. But thank you so much for your time. I hope to see what you can do in Imola. Hopefully that we get to race. Thank you so much, Ruby. Up next, we have Penelope Dobbins. Oh man, the commentary team really... Penelope?
Yep. Hello.
Hello. What's going through your mind right now? That was incredible.
I'm probably going to get promoted to pro. But yeah, the only reason why I didn't sign up for race 1 was mostly being in pain from dental issues.
And not letting that stop you for round 2. What was going through your mind on the track with all the battles? I love seeing that we're not just racing for the podium, right? We're racing for every single position essentially here on track. What was going through your mind while defending and attacking constantly throughout the 2 races?
So race 1 was more... it's really not my race unless an opportunity arises. Really just be patient and sit behind. And then for race 2, because I was a bit more comfortable with the cars that were around me, I was a bit more aggressive. But no, P7 overall for both, so can't complain.
Oh, absolutely not. And your times were incredible. You're definitely going to be up there, of course, with Pro. What are you looking forward to for round 3? Do you prefer Imola, Alton Park? And then is there any dream track you hope that we get to race in ACC?
Personally, I prefer Imola. Whilst Alton Park is fun to drive, I find it a bit awkward to find an opportunity to overtake, because at least at the minute it's mostly single file. And then dream track.
Spa. Just throw it out there. I'll join for that. That's one of my favorites.
Spa is pretty fun, but I don't know really. I haven't driven GT3s in a decently long time.
Well, if you have a favorite track, let us know. We'll put in a good word with the broadcast team and see what kind of strings we can pull. But Penelope, incredible showing in both rounds 1 and 2 and qualifying. That was so cool to watch. Yeah, thank you for your time. Congrats on today's race. Some really cool battling, and excited to see you for round 3.
Yep, should be fun.
It's gonna be great, especially how it's been going so far. We'd love to watch. So thank you so much, Penelope. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And up next we have Honor Rose. Hello.
Hello.
Well, congratulations are in order. Incredible job today. Incredible performance. What is going through your head on race start exactly? And seeing the jump when the flag goes green, what are you thinking at that exact moment? What are you doing?
Not much really. I try not to think at the start because you overthink, you overshoot the first corner every time. So I try not to do that. Focus on sticking as close as is legally possible to the car behind to defend. Push them as much as you can out of the line to try and get the advantage out of turn 1, and that's it.
And Silverstone, one of your favorite tracks, or just a track you know very well? It seems that you've got the technical parts down, of course, the slow parts, the tricky combinations. How does it feel to be doing Silverstone?
I actually absolutely hate this track, but somehow I seem to be doing good at it. But yeah, no, I absolutely hate this version of it. I like the pre-F1 version much better. It had a flow. This one doesn't.
Between the round 3 tracks of Alton and Imola, do you have a preferred choice?
Not really. I like both really. Alton especially. If you're in front, it's extremely easy to stay in front. So maybe that's fun.
Right. So make sure you vote. So make sure you get in front.
Yeah, I did.
Perfect. And how do you kind of prepare for these races? Did you put in a lot of laps for Silverstone? Did you do anything in particular, or kind of
for this one, I basically managed my time. I think I did 2 hours session for this one because it's a track that really gets under my skin. Yes. Especially with this car, it's really hard with this car. It's weird because in like the high-speed sections, especially Abbey and I think it's Beckett's. I'm never sure of the name. Like in that complex, you've got the first left and then the right. The right one is the tricky one because you tend to let go of the throttle, which unlocks the diff, and you tend to lose the rear there. So the trick is to stay on the throttle on the turn in, but it's kind of counterintuitive, and if you get the setup wrong, you lose the rear. So yeah, especially in the race, once I noticed I had a bit of a gap, I took it easy there because there was no point risking spinning to gain what, I don't know, a tenth maybe. Not worth it.
And then any tips or top tip you can give for Alton Park? That you can any secrets you can give away for ultimate success in 2 weeks when we race?
And the thing is, I'm not quite sure because we're getting a new patch in 2 days, and currently the top tip I could give for Alton Park is to go with way overinflated tires so you can cut all race long, because currently if you cut the corners at Alton Park, you are guaranteed at some point to get pressure loss, and getting pressure losses over and over by cutting is way faster than not cutting, not getting pressure losses. So you want overinflated tires to be able to cut all race long right now. But I don't know how it'll be in 2 days, so we'll see.
I guess we'll find out. Well, congratulations, incredible sweep. Appreciate watching that, and that was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Sure, it's cool for me too, especially on the points side, you know.
Yeah, definitely no complaints there on the point side. as getting P1 for both races. Thank you so much for joining us, and excited to see you for round 3.
Yep. See you then. Bye-bye.
See you then. Ooh, and we have some post-race penalties, David. Of course, as you said, as we kind of settled in and had race control, able to catch up on all the laps here. The incident between cars 734 and car 40 on lap 16, just a warning to car 40 for Ruby Acosta, and then 734 and 604, a 20-second penalty to Sarah Stant for causing a collision with Anna Foster.
Yeah, saw that one coming, unfortunately. But, it's a horrible way to end. But, Ash, I'm still, that 10 minutes of questions wasn't enough for me to relax and think about what on earth we just witnessed tonight. That, for me, that was probably one of the best rounds of MFR in recent seasons that I can remember. That was just awesome stuff, let alone for our spectators at home. We certainly enjoyed it in the commentary box.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this race day, round 2 of More Female Racers, powered by Mercedes-AMG. Excited to see you in 2 weeks. Do we have a track win? Did the poll?
Well, it's still on. It's it looks like it closed and it's been taken away. I think it's going to be Imola, because that's so it has been decided. Yep, Imola then. So we can both be very
no one
sad.
ever chooses my picks. I'm gonna have to lobby for my tracks a little bit sooner when I find out what they are. I'll see if I can do that next time to get my picks to win. But Imola is going to be pretty exciting.
It's exciting / chaotic / everyone's going to die at turn 1.
I mean, only time will tell. When we see everyone back here for round 3 of More Female Racers. David, thank you so much for joining me.
It's been my absolute pleasure, Ash. It's been awesome to be back and checking in on the ladies here at More Female Racers, and just awesome to be back on it. And best of luck to you and to Sam, who will have back on the next round for the rest of the season.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you to our broadcast team, and thank you for tuning in for More Female Racers, powered by Mercedes-AMG. Bye, everyone.